Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome. So, as I said in the tweet, and as I said yesterday, I'm going to be doing a kind of more like a live review today. So, I haven't seen these games. We're not going to do them in the ruffle file. We're going to do them like normal. So, a bit more relaxed, a bit more fun, hopefully. If there's anything that's really good to look at, we can grab the ruffle files and look. It's all set up, ready to go anyway. I just need to download the game, so we can look at stuff in more detail. I can answer questions as we go. They're playing the Ezreal Karma into Nico. If you let BLG have Nico, you know they're going to pick it. So you know this is coming, probably. Maybe not that early, to be fair. The Nico on 3 could have been another option as well. With Pantheon gone, they want to drop jungle as well. So there's going to be probably 2 more jungle bans yet. There comes the Trundle. The Renekton banning his Bwipo is a bit weird, but... Maybe you just do another jungle ban? Yeah, there you go. Wukong gone as well. So now it's going to be probably a bigger drop, because I would guess you don't really want to play stuff like Lee Sin, because you do want something with an extra CC to allow the Talia. Like, it's much better when it's like, well, Xin or Pantheon, for example. So now they're going to take the mid laner. No mid lane bans, so full choice. Aurora into Talia is pretty good, pretty standard. And it is going to be the Scion actually instead. So rather than banning the Scion, like when you're in this position and you have like, okay, there's a really good ban the blind, that they want, and they ban stuff that's good into it, then the choices are like you take the blind anyway, and yeah, you could have just gone for the counter, but you get the really strong pick. I think Scion is pretty strong, so pretty broken, so Scion is just really strong, even at its top level, even MSI. He's probably still just going to go the Aurora, so they could have taken that pick on 4, and then it's like, do you want a blind top or not? And then because you've got no front line in top and bot lane, frontline jungle I think is much better, even though normally you don't see tank junglers until a few games of Fearless, when all the rest of the stuff is gone. I'm not sure, by the way, how many, I don't even know how many games it is, and I'm not sure how many I'm going to watch. So I don't necessarily have all the time in the world. Got a few more things I need to do before scrims tonight. This, like, obviously, I do think BLG are favoured, but if there was ever going to be a LPL LCK matchup to win for the West, it would be this one. So we'll see if they can, or it's just gonna. I think it's just LCK LPL 100% win rate against all Western teams, well, against everyone other than themselves actually. The gap is closing. So Nico, like we said before, she's like, I guess, half or 3/4 of a range champion in lane, and then half or 3/4 of a melee champion after the lane. But that means that playing stuff like Karma into it, you should be able to still get a more dominant lane phase. So this Ezreal Karma as a counter to Nico, I've not seen so much. But it does mean that Nico's not going to be this massive lane bully. But of course, Nico will be much more useful than Karma later on, especially if they don't have items. Especially if, you know, they don't get fed. Like, because Nico's got a lot of CC. If Nico falls behind, you can still hit big ults, you can still hit CC. Okay, just trading back and forward. Bwipo trading a lot. Both junglers pathing the other ways. Aatrox they're going to get this kill though. Sorry, jump backwards for some reason. That's a really poor gank timing. Like death timing. For both teams. We're both just dying to this full clear gank. What? Oh! Okay, nice. So Inspired is there to cover and get the return, and also gets the reset on double bust, which is really good. So overall, much better for Fly, and they also stop the bot lane base, so Ezreal's not going to be too far behind in tempo. Sedge still can't just take the dragon. It's not quite that extreme. But both of these, like, this is the most standard jungle gank time. We got there in the end. Okay. Instant flash. There you go. Very nice. Maybe it's just a quick FlyQuest 3-0. But this is the thing that I like. So you realize that On has this mega Nico. I didn't know this before, but they said in the cast that like he's never lost on it. And something that they can prioritize. So your options are you just ban it and you ban away from it, or you play something into it knowing they're going to take it. So this Ezreal Karma instant slam was for sure prepared with the idea that they're going to take. And now they get summoners again, they get kill again. They're really, really punching this bot lane. I really like this. Coming in with a clear plan, like this is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to win. We're going to play into Nico and something. We're going to ban, I don't know what ADs they banned, if they banned any. We're going to play into Nico and something. And they're not going to be used to just getting actually bullied 2v2. And then we're also going to gank them a lot. Even though the first path went top lane. They get his ult. So they... Let me look at this. Wait, why am I not? Must have been clicking on something else. So, playing for these grubs, always grubs is important, especially against LPL teams. They're going to fight you even if they lose the grubs. Talia heads to bot lane and has TP up coming soon. So MF is going to push and move, but she's fast as she's MF. So Knight gets there first, and Nico's a little bit disjointed, so he's going to have to pop the ult already. And Masu's running forward and just gets caught. That's a tragedy. Lucio might be in danger as well with the root coming back up, but maybe not. Knight's there. Yeah, he picks up the kill. And it was going so well, and then just one, like, they're just a little bit disconnected, and BLG pounced really, really quick. So they got the... Ooh, not quite interrupting for the tempo. Okay, MF's back. But she clears the wave, though. Okay, he did use the ult. Okay, I thought he'd used the ult before. They're just going a little bit too quickly. And Whippo's a little bit too far forward as well. Same thing. So they managed to get like a pick on both the people in the setup. Quad still bot lane. Aurora matches, and both the bot lanes go to mid, so they're much harder to punish in mid, right? Because it's a shorter lane. Tower's still up.
Here we go. Rotation over to the bottom side. Plenty of control ward set up through the river as well. 100 international games played for Elk. Congratulations there. I heard some cheers in the crowd as well. A veteran now for BLG, a long-standing player that's recognized internationally as one of the top 80 carries in the world. See if he can continue BLG's MSI run. This FlyQuest have been doing a really good job in the bot lane 2 versus 2. Now that bot lane has made their way mid to fight over this wave. It's Fly that gets priority over the lane for now. Beishwan isolated in the river. Might with some quick wave clear on the bot side of the map.
Was he just dancing? I thought it was hitting dragon for a second, but I think it was just spamming dance. So they push up through bot, and they try and push up through mid and control through mid. They're now going to put 3 people mid to chase MF away, which allows Ezreal to get prio. Gets a good chunk, but he's really low mana. So really low mana on the side of Masu, which is going to be a problem. This next mid wave was the one that's important. So Beishwan goes instantly for the dragon. MF is zoned away, but she does have ult. She can come back in. She has a lot more resources than Ezreal as well. Ezreal now is just completely Aatrox is coming down. Sion is moving. TP's down now. The one-man Nico is never good. Inspired absolutely smurfs this fight so far. Oh, and he gets out as well. Okay, so look at this. Look at this. Like, finding what your role is in fights, I think, is so important. And so, yes, Inspired does have the engage as well. But if he can just completely nullify Elk, gets a massive chunk actually on him with some damage coming in, I guess, from somewhere else I didn't see. Then he instant turns onto Beishuan and almost kills him before he even ults, then does kill him. Then he flashes over the Sion ult and avoids the Nico E at the same time to live. Mega Smurf.
Belongs to me, BLG, and I don't care what you do about it, I'm going to try and take it from you. He picks a fight with On, he respects the engage from mid, he navigates all of that while also getting a kill on the base one, and he works with quad beautifully. So look at the positioning. You were just highlighting Kobe. First he just turns his attention onto the support. On is forced to ulti early. Then BLG thinks,
So On has to ult here because otherwise he just dies. So yeah, it's a one-man ult, but it's better than a zero-man ult.
That rush is just so critical to all of these objective fights, hitting there early, and as you say, quad throwing all the rocks into the enemy jungler. As we reset back out onto the map as well, we get some early pushing here from FlyQuest. Again, trying to push in all 3 lanes to keep that pressure up. Okay, 195 stacks on Masu's tier, so about halfway towards getting that one all the way done. Does have his Trinity Force power spike now as well, so this Ezreal, very, very strong. Bloodthirster completed for the Misfortune, but generally Trinity Force is considered that big one-item spike compared to almost any other first item completion in the game. 14 minutes hits the clock, turret plates are down, and you can see Whippo putting in the work in bottom lane, trying to clear out the first turret, but Night Rise in time to get rid of the wave before he can complete the job. It's still not a 1,000 gold lead here for FlyQuest, but BLG maintain their advantage on the grubs, and we only got 45 seconds until Rip Herald spawns next. Yeah, and meanwhile on the other side, Elk here with the BT rush, a very common rush for Misfortune, so you can use your mid priority here and just keep on leeching up.
Okay, keeps him in lane. Tanks a bit of tower shots, but it does mean that he's going to have to either TP back or he's going to have to drop this wave, so he stays.
You can see that he went for the early Bramble Vest to deal with the Aatrox, but then overall he went for Hollow Radiance and in on him as his first big completion because he knows his job is going to be answering quad in the side lanes since they both have the ultimate to be able to join the bigger fights more easily. Plus we're going to see Aurora continue pushing on bot side, and that pressure does matter because those are kind of the mismatched teleports for solo lanes. It's Whippo that has to answer because his teleport is available to be able to come answer the top side, but it does mean, as we see a minion wave right now dying on the minimap on the bottom side of the tower, some small advantages for BLG there.
I mean, it's really hard, I think, at this stage of the game to play Aatrox into Night, right? Those longer fights with a double mask. Okay, nice shove, nice shove. Lots of damage. Oof. And this is the thing, this is why it's so smurf from last time that Inspired completely nullified the Nico, because two people insta-dead. Oh, what the fuck? This fight still goes on? So they do have this shotgun comp, right? And Nico, MF, by that I mean the first phase, they have to get stuff. If they use those ults and no one dies, they're probably going to lose the back end. And so even though they got 2 kills, FlyQuest go for this. If he gets 1 reset, they can maybe play it, but he's just going to get some chunks, I think. I don't think anyone's going to die. So they're going to get Herald and 2 kills. And nothing on the cross map, obviously, because they wanted to play that fight. Okay, they didn't get the Herald because this TP comes in now. It's just like one little mistake where you lose track of where Aurora is, and these good Aurora players will just... Not Aurora, Nico. Okay, FlyQuest just going really far forward. He doesn't get the wave either, so that's going to be some tower chunk and the Herald for the bot lane tower. They do commit a lot of people onto this side. Okay, FlyQuest still fighting it. How is... Okay, he's Harvest Spear already, right. I was going to say, like, how is Beishuan, like, just getting one-tapped by Inspired? Okay, so Ezreal has push in mid, Talia teleports down. BLG has top push. Knight has the TP, though. Again, really nice ult, so that a bunch of him... Yeah, he loses a bunch of damage, a bunch of HP before he even ults. Masu jumping over the wall. They are going to be able to chase down this Sion, I think, yeah. I mean, it's a good game. They're really fighting for it.
Vedas, we saw the ramifications of those timing windows you were talking about, because that resulted in the bot tower going down and the teleport coming from quad. They still haven't been able to finish the objective, but they should do so while collecting the wave here. So this is going to be a big swing.
So that play on top side, like, you just committed too many resources to make it happen.
We're correct. I mean, I was worried that FlyQuest would get trapped in the BLG style of play, where it's just brawl into brawl, skirmish into skirmish, which is the type of play that BLG thrive in, but they're matching the pressure. They're not afraid to go and skirmish, and it's because they know they have the poke in their back pocket to dish out onto BLG. Now, though, we don't have time to slow down. The Dragon is alive. Knight is going to secure that top tower. Whippo's going to try and answer, so he doesn't quite secure this objective yet, but with another objective on the map, both teams are going to set their sights on. Whippo trying to the distance there to not get hit by that snap Aurora combo, but still Knight finding him there with a skill shot, as FlyQuest will immediately use the Herald mid lane.
Okay, MF ult down, though.
Clear out the entirety of the wave, but there's still a Herald ready to crash into the turret. Remember, they don't have any grubs, so you're not going to get a whole lot of extra value by driving it in there, as Knight is still trying to take down.
It is going to be tower trade for Dragon. Okay, they have to trade ults. So fights are good now for FlyQuest, right? Because MF doesn't have ult, which means that the shotgun doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if Nico hits a... Well, not doesn't matter. But even if Nico hits a massive ult, you're not just going to get like one shot. And Knight doesn't have ult either for the AoE. Okay, but this time Beishwan does buffer the ult. Hey Colin, thanks for the follow. Okay, they get out to red buff, but I would much prefer if they'd had a bit more organized fight around the Dragon there, because MF ult is down.
But then FlyQuest instead say, you know what, let's just go for a fight instead. They look for a collapse on a Beishwan, but they can't.
Because Beishwan this time does buffer the ult, so he gets the Xin ult first, which is why he doesn't just die from the in the CC. And so now they're starting it because it's the reverse. MF ult was used for the wave. Aurora ult was used in the trade, but then suddenly a couple of ults come out from FlyQuest. He might try and steal this, but other than that, I think it's not. Yeah, he just queues away. He can just queue out if he needs to. Some heart steal stacks.
So BLG, good plays there, good decision making, as Inspired still looking to grab a little.
I mean, this is really good. Like in the way Inspired, like
Whippo's right behind him, but BLG still, they've got plenty of distance. They got the Dragon done fast.
Plays, but he like pushes people around, and he actually pushes around these like big LPL teams and stuff like that. Not that no one else would walk forward there, but it's just like the constant thing of like, I'm going to go in, I'm going to do this. Like in the Dragon fight, it's like, I'm going in, I'm securing this bush. And it lets everyone, I think, have a lot more space.
And that's just given them both individually a pretty significant goal advantage.
I think one of the biggest determining factors is not going to show on the scoreboard in this game. I think it is going to be the vision, because BLG, they really want to play flanks with Knight and On, even Bins, possibly here with the Scion, to find their big engage. But FlyQuest, like you say, they want to play a little bit, slowly, so they can find a little bit of value out of their poke damage. And Sejuani being this non-committal engage.
And FlyQuest should win front to back. So if they just hit one target, it still should be in favor of
keeping track of that vision
of FlyQuest because of the shields, because of the higher consistent damage. And if then Whippo gets a reset, then you can run over the rest of the fight. But with BLG, it's just like this one first phase. If the first phase doesn't go well, it's very difficult for BLG to win fights. They use like Nico, MF ult, Aurora ult, boom, someone doesn't die. Even if they're low, the fight could still just turn back around.
If there's a game to do it, this could be that game. If Whippo can find a massive performance in one of these upcoming fights, that could be what really breaks things open. Yeah, let's see it. He's got a Karma on his team, so Busio can help out with some of the mobility as well, really speed him up and get chased down angles.
Okay.
But we're looking at
Knight waiting in the Dragon Pit. I like this waiting. People often don't go far enough in to check, especially now it's oh no. Oh, it's not actually Knight. Okay. Looks good, actually. Inspired on the back end is going to kill On. And Whippo doesn't die. So again, the shotgun doesn't quite kill anyone. And now Knight's ulted as well. Inspired still just fucking with him. Silent passive is not going to do anything. Huge. So I was baited as well by the...
They weathered the engage from BLG. They thought that they'd set up a trap in
I was baited by the fact that Nico was as Aurora. I thought this was Knight in the bush. But they hit both the tanks, and so this shotgun like doesn't really actually do that much. Now this ult like from F doesn't either. What are your key takeaways from the Dendi interview? What was the Dendi interview? Is that Tabe's name? If there was an interview today, I haven't seen it, so no spoilers if you can. Yeah, Tabe. I don't think I'll do anything differently. It's interesting to hear. It's just what we expected. I think the biggest takeaway for me is that the fact that he doesn't have draft discussions with his players, which is quite fun because the other like inside information that we got recently that we didn't know before was that at Worlds, T1 only talks about... Oh, nice pick. At T1 at Worlds only was talking about like 99% Reckless said they talk about draft. So it's completely different approaches, and obviously one is not right and one is wrong. But I really love the idea of if you had a coach who was good enough at draft that all the players could just be like, well, I don't have to worry about it, that would be perfect. But I did say in the thing, that's not me. That's not ever going to be me. I don't think I even want to be that kind of coach, but there are coaches who are like that. There are a lot of coaches who want to be like that. I haven't met any coaches who actually are like that, who just say, we're picking this, and players are like, okay, because we trust you. But that's really cool. Max 15 minutes about draft, he said. Which is, I think, great. If you were out of that situation where like your players would just be like, okay, yeah, no, I trust it. Coach has got it. That's cool. That would be awesome. But also then you'd have to actually, like I said, be able to do it. And so for me, I don't play in Challenger and play all the time and stuff like that. And I think one big advantage is knowing the matchups because of that. No, I haven't played professionally. I have only as a, I guess I have, but only as a sub when our player had internet issues. I studied coaching for rugby and football. Like I did coaching qualifications there, and then I was just lucky enough to be involved early enough. So I was watching like season 1 and stuff like that, and was loving it when no one was really watching stuff. And so I started coaching. I didn't even call it coaching because esports didn't exist in the West. So I've just been coaching long enough that now I've been coaching League for 11 years or whatever. No, more. Shit. Long time. And professionally since like 2017 or something. But no, I've never played professionally. And I'm not like, I never play solo queue, but I don't think I would get mega high elo if I tried. But I've never tried. Because I think it's not that worth your time as a coach, unless you really enjoy it and you're using it for like time off. So I'm getting really distracted. I get so distracted by good questions. You can ask questions regarding patch notes, but I don't look at patch notes until they affect us. So I don't know. I won't have a good answer. Okay, so Aatrox low has TP soon, so they're going to try and use the plants to get back higher HP. It'll only be third dragon. It's not like Soul. They don't absolutely need to fight this. And again, it's just like hitting one target is fine for FlyQuest, but BLG need to find like a big engage. So I think that chunk might be enough, but Beishuan's still looking. Oh, they do get it onto Masu. Oh, he doesn't quite get one shot. He's still alive. Okay, but Bwipo now is in the middle of everybody. Some damage coming back. Busio. Okay. Not able to do enough. Okay, like why does this go so bad? Is it just because of their HP? Because so even though they didn't kill Masu, like one of their carries just like loses all their damage because now he has to just run. So they get a really nice chunk onto Bin, and at this stage, I feel like it's fine. Karma gets a bit trapped off of one side in this position. She does get a big shield. On gets a massive engage onto Masu, who, if he gets one shot as well, I think the back end of this fight is also a nightmare. But now Bwipo gets caught, like, not caught, but like now into the into the middle of everybody. Fuck. Oh, it's a tragedy. Okay. Oh, it's a nightmare. We found it.
A single kill in flowers, 9 gold. So if you had
Okay, it was this dragon, right? MF ult chunk people, that's why they were low, but MF ult was down, so it's not quite as disastrous. Wait, I'll do this fight and then I'll answer questions. It's a good question. That's why I want to answer it properly.
Shutdown goes over to On's Nico. Knight continuing to try to look for Masu.
Okay, they've still got a 2.7k gold lead. Can they hold for when Inspired gets back? Quad's... Masu's not got TP. I don't like this. I don't think this gets anything other than danger of dying. Okay, good. Right, so the question was, don't you... Okay, they can still just slowly throw things at bin as long as they don't go too far forward. They do kill him. And Inspired is just, again, absolutely in their faces all the time. Elk is maybe going to die as well. So huge. Okay. Oh, not quite so huge. I don't... Did he double up on the... Did he double up on the wolves there?
Whipple's ready to spread his wings and run forward, and Masu has rejoined the battle. Beishuan's locked up, and FlyQuest wants more blood. On's about to drop right next to his jungler, and FlyQuest...
Very nice.
Up a body count. Props to FlyQuest for recognizing...
Whippo jumps over.
That play again, and yes, BLG...
And again, on the extended play, like they actually do pick them up. Okay, so the question was... don't you feel a disadvantage as a coach that you don't play? Like, how do you get your team to respect you? And it's a good question because I think a lot of people struggle with it. The things that I would say as advice is you have to be very careful as a coach what you place your, like, the confidence that the team has on you, like what you place it in. So it's kind of like what Jocko Willink calls leadership capital. So what are you gonna place your leadership capital in? Why should people do what you want to do, and why should people listen to you? I would say even if you're a challenger player and then a coach, or even if you're a former pro player and a coach, you still shouldn't do it based on the game as a head coach, based purely on the game, because you can never always be right about the game. And I've seen so many people who are like mega confident. They're like an individual coach. They're going to tell you exactly what to do. They have loads of videos online of them shouting at people for clicking once wrong and all this kind of thing. And it never works in the long time with teams. And people are really shocked at why. And it's like, I just think, like, because the problem is, if you're saying you need to be like better than them to respect you, for them to respect you, then like, why aren't you playing? Because there's no physical reason why you can't. So you will never be like better than the players you coach unless something's gone a little bit wrong. And for me, I think the other thing is that the game always changes. You can never be always right about the game. So if you've positioned either intentionally or unintentionally your value to the team as, I am useful to you because I can tell you things you don't know about the game, and I'm always right about the game, and then you're wrong, then what happens? Then it can actually be really detrimental. Whereas I actually do know a lot about the game, but I know it from being involved in the professional scene for a long time and watching a lot of the game and not playing it. I don't know a lot about how you play the fine details of how you play Talia Aurora matchup. I don't. But even if I didn't know about the game, I don't think I would have a problem working with a team, because it's like, okay, I'm there because I'm going to give you like direction. I know about coaching, and I can use your game knowledge to build us some good processes that actually help us make us play better. So that's the way that I do it. But I know that people kind of struggle with it, and people have had big problems with it in the past. And people who don't know anything about the game have had problems, and people who do know stuff about the game have also had big problems, you know? Like LS is very confident about his game knowledge, and he's struggled to have positive impact on teams. And I think, by the way, that's a tragedy. I think that it's a real shame for us that someone like LS hasn't been able to actually make teams better with his knowledge. And I would say it's because of the fact that whether you call it a head coach, whether you call it a head of LoL or whatever, whoever's running the project and whoever is ultimately in charge hasn't been able to utilize him properly. And I think that's a really bad thing. And I think putting him in as a head coach in the West is a problem, because it's all the other stuff. So yeah. Yeah, I mean, if you got questions like that, I don't mind being interrupted. That's a really good question. I could talk about that forever. Okay, a pick, but Quad gets out and a kill. And here's the same thing, like the second part of the fight. It's really useful, I think, to think about fights in these like second phases or multiple phases. So like, who wins phase 2, who wins phase 1, those kind of things. Those are the questions that you're looking at or thinking about when you're looking at comps, and they can give you a really good idea of like how the fight should go. And you'll see pro teams like still be 4v5 and chasing them away, because like, okay, yeah, it's 4v5, but you've used Nico ult, you've used Aurora ult, you've used Xin ult, and that's bigger deal for you than us using a couple of ults as well. And like the whip ult, for example, Aatrox ult lasts for a while, so even that already, like, okay, now second phase can be more useful for us, or better for us, not more useful. So Dragon's going to be an issue. We need to make sure they don't get soul. I'm going to say we, because I'm going to obviously make this very FlyQuest biased. To not let them get soul, and to just have organized fights. Like if everyone, let's say you could turn off Fog of War, FlyQuest win this game every single time. Because if they don't get, if everyone knows where everyone is, then they don't get engaged on, and they okay, flash triple. Oh no way. Okay, they do get the kill. I mean, they do get away, sorry. So it's just stack up 3 Qs, flash, very simple combo. But it's okay for FlyQuest to just be hitting bin, and it's not okay for BLG. So you see here, everyone's just hitting the tank, and you think, okay, that's bad. But already BLG are running, because they know if they just hit the tank and FlyQuest just hit the tank, they'll lose. So they have to run away. And with Booper coming in as well, Aurora's on the side. She's trying to find a way to make it not just front to back, trying to find a way to get onto the back line. But now Aatrox ult keeps carrying on. Oh, Elk almost dies to that W. If he got flicked, he would have died there. When you talk about this can happen or this would work, and someone says no, I win it after the game, what's your response? That's fine. I think if you create an environment where you can't be wrong as a coach, you are screwed. I think if you can't create an environment where you can't be wrong in general, you are screwed, because you go through life terrified that you'll be exposed for being wrong. You know, like if you can't just admit, okay, I don't know about that, or I'm not sure about that, or if someone proves that you're wrong, you're like, oh great, this should be good. This should be a good thing. So if I come into a review and I say, guys, don't we just need to we can't give them midwave here. Like it's not worth it giving the midwave and running for this objective. And one of the players says, okay, well, firstly, actually, I guess I'll answer your question already, because I would say it like that. I would say, I think we can't give, I wouldn't say, let's pretend I forget I'm a different person, and I come in and I say, don't let them have midwave in this situation, which I would do only if we'd all agreed that we never give them midwaves when we're ahead. We never drop midwaves for an objective. We always do the midwave first, which actually is something we've already kind of agreed. But anyway, forgetting those two things, let's say I said, okay, we have to play like this. And one of the players says to me, I don't agree. I think we can play like that. Great. Let's hear him out. If he knows and I don't, if he can show, okay, this is the reasons, then that's awesome. My game knowledge increases from having that interaction. And that's great. So that's, I think, a better way to approach it. And again, I would do that openly. I would say, oh, I'm wrong. But, oh, I actually prefer I love your play. It's awesome. And that's what I mean as well by trying to like diffuse this thing that the only reason I'm there as a coach is because I know more than you about the game. Because it's not true and it shouldn't be true. So I want to like make sure that it's obvious right from the very beginning. So as much as possible early on, I'm completely happy admitting that I'm wrong, because I also want everyone else to admit that they're wrong when they're wrong. We have to build an environment where we're not like permanently fighting for my view versus your view, and we're not actually aware of the fact that the best thing is just like whatever the 7 of us can come up with. So we've got Febby as assistant coach. Whatever the 7 of us can come up with that's the best, that's what we should do. It doesn't matter who came up with it. Yeah, Mourinho is an interesting example as well, Adam. But it's very, very rare, right? Like Mourinho, the Mourinho example in football is way more rare than me, right? I think there's more coaches in league who are... Well, like Mac, for example, never played the game, but he has better reasons for having never played the game. Pad has never played professionally, I think, but he is still like master when he wants to be or whatever.
Exactly. This is what BLG have earned through their early control over the objectives, through that last dragon fight that they stuck around and managed to secure. If they can get this, the Ocean Soul will be huge, especially against the Pope.
But also, I think, as a side point, I think actually sport is going more the way of coaches wouldn't need to be as good as at the game, and there would be much that wouldn't need to have played at that level kind of thing. Because we used to have in sport this idea of like the infallible coach, where the coach knows everything about everything and he shouts at everyone all the time. And now we just see over and over again, and we've realized that actually working with the athletes, no matter the sport, is far better than just like shouting at them and pretending it's school. So if you talk to people who are involved in professional teams nowadays, it's much more like it's a relationship between me and the coach. I come to him with ideas, or her, and she or he comes to me as well. And it's like back and forward. Last thing as well, before we get back to the game, it's also depending on the position. So I don't ever want to be a positional coach. I think if you were a positional coach who's never played the game, like who has played the game, that would be better. But a head coach, I think it just doesn't. It's neither. It's if I was the exact same as I am now, but I also could be challenger if I played, it still wouldn't be worth me actually being challenger. But it might be better, but I don't know. It's not as good as knowing more about coaching, I think, if that's a way to understand it. Okay, let's see. Can they close out this game? Because I still don't know the result of this, so I do want to make sure that I don't get too distracted so I don't see what even happens. When we get to games like this where it's like 6-7k, like unless this is a fight that goes in favor of BLG, it's probably just like I won't stop.
Continue to prove my doubts wrong. They fight so effectively, they shepherd BLG exactly where they want them to go. With the Baron, they've broken into the base of BLG, and now all of the pressure is on BLG to find a miracle wombo combo. But they have made some incredible plays on the quad, and have just not had the damage to kill him. With the Seraphs, with the shielding provided by Busio, they need so much damage just to get a single kill. To win out in a team fight, I feel like BLG just don't have the damage to beat this FlyQuest comp anymore.
And yes, this FlyQuest team, they have stuck together for so long. Through last year, they really built up a lot of synergy through last year's Worlds, and it does show in how quickly they go for these plays. Right now, they're actually going into a 4-1 split push. Split even coming a little bit behind on mid lane, a little bit delayed, but with the Baron buff, they should be able to close in on the BLG base. And we have perfect vision. We know there was only 3 FlyQuest players there, but the amount of respect being given over by BLG as they retreat, knowing that one more bad fight is just the end of the game. FlyQuest have the time to take out the 2 in the top lane. The goal extends to 9,000.
But it is it's strange as well, because I think one of the things you have to be aware of as a coach is that there's so many, when you're talking about like team dynamics and stuff like that, there's so many variables and so many different things. So like I have never been in the situation where I've had like an unsolvable relationship with a player. I've just never experienced that. But that doesn't mean it couldn't ever happen. So maybe what I'm talking about is okay for me now and has been okay for me for the last 12 years, but maybe I would find a player who's like, look, I'm not going to listen to anything you say because you can't beat me in a 1v1. I don't know. So it's almost like, because it's not been a problem for me, I'm maybe the worst person to ask about it. Because for me, like, just the way I am, I guess I'm lucky in that way, I guess. People are always just like, I think I could be useful for a team if I never spoke about League of Legends, as an example. I do, but I do speak about League of Legends, and I do know things about League of Legends, but even if I didn't, I think I could still be useful to a team. Because, like, what we're doing, like leadership, that kind of thing, where we're going, and also, like, turning what people say, firstly, like, sort of managing the discussion, and turning what people say now about the game into something that's useful for the future is a very important skill for a coach to have. Because a lot of the way players conceptualize the game is a bit more ethereal and a little bit less concrete, which is fine, I guess, in game, but it's not so useful when you're trying to get someone else to also do it, so your teammate to also do it. Okay, so they do get the Pantheon. Pantheon Wukong trade. So trade Pantheon and Annie, basically, as it has like the mega power picks. And it is going to be the blind pick Renekton. I didn't watch enough LTA. Is this like a real threat? Does anyone know? I always think of Whippo as the guy who will pull out the Urgot and random stuff like that, not someone who's going to blind pick Slam Renekton. But I don't watch LTA. So double top bans. Still stuff like Ornn, I guess, if you want to go mega for front to back. It'll depend on what AD you go for. So this time it's probably going to be the other way. It could well be the other way around. Oh, Kalista. I am not sure. And it is going to be the Ornn. So with like Victor Corki and Ornn and Rel, now it's flipped. So FlyQuest are going to really need to find, like, either they need to really snowball these lanes, Renekton and Kalista and stuff like that. They need to really snowball the lanes, or they're going to need to come from like multiple different directions. If it's the reverse of last time. If we get a situation where both teams are just hitting the tanks, BLG should be good. And if everyone knows where everyone is, BLG will win this game. Unless they get murdered in lane phase. Like, if you get to 15 minutes, the game is even, and you turn off Fog of War, BLG win. Which is always worth kind of having in mind. Like, who needs to get the like flanks and stuff like that.
And that's exactly why, Vedius, I say Dragon stacking is the name of the game for FlyQuest here. So they can utilize that to draw in BLG and try and play to that mid-game.
All right, let's do it. Can BLG's traditional powerful scaling comp outlast FlyQuest? Big mid-game spike like you're talking about.
Okay.
Last game, we saw both teams.
Quick FlyQuest 3-0, that's what we want.
BLG might be at trying to slow things down here in this one.
All right, how cursed is Kalista?
So 0 and 8. I mean, the main reason is that we're in a matter of team fighting, and I think she does terrible into tanks. And so especially a champion like Ornn.
That's how I saw against LR. You want to do such last picking champs.
Thank you so much for joining me. Tell me how it's been the first game, the atmosphere, the FlyQuest win.
It's been amazing. I mean, I think Inspired literally played like a perfect Sejuani game. I don't know the last time I saw Sejuani just take over a game like that.
I think the thing for our previous strategies in terms of like the bans, I won't speak too much about the game, is that those bans and then playing with those champs later on in Fearless are much more it's like just the value of the ban, right? So it's like Baus on his other champs I think is very good. Baus on those champs I think is incredibly good. And so like the difference between the two was why we went for those bans before. No, it's good. It's always like, okay, so the questions you're asking is not necessarily, as in when you come into the draft or you start thinking about the draft, it's not necessarily like, okay, we're banning top because he has a bad champion pool, which might have been true at the beginning of the year, but it's certainly not true now. It's more like, okay, Baus on Sion or Gragas, we thought wasn't worth, is a bigger difference than Nemesis on whatever we would have banned in mid. Or getting our first pick with an extra couple of bans. And then later on, we took away the Sion, right? Last time we played them. Where the Cho'Gath is gone as well, and then it can become a really big power pick for us.
And they know he's probably going to be looking around the bottom lane and mid lane. So they should have Inspired Shadow and be just fine.
So we find ourselves in a bit of a slower early game. No crazy gangs.
But maybe it's time to try something different. it's enough best of fives. We just get 3-0'd, and then it doesn't matter what we had planned for later on in Fearless because we don't get there. Okay, so this is the downside. I don't know how they lost. Like, do they lose Prio in this matchup? Renata, Kalista?
You have a proxying Renekton on your screen at the moment. So Whippo loves to do this because you get an extra 30 seconds when you get the minion wave ahead of time. And so he's moving in for a little bit of a timing advantage, puts down his ward, and
Immediately go on and Elko in. Masu in danger to Kalista.
Oh no.
The first blood is there. FlyQuest can't bail Masu out in time. Busio needs one more hit to make it 1-for-1. And now Busio levels up to 4.
Kalista.
Lowest damage 1v1 in League of Legends. I don't think it's going anywhere else.
I think people are feeling even more uncomfortable than yes, looking at that because Masu tried to use his flash to be able to go for it. You know, you want to get the bailout and then you use your rend to burst for the kill, but they were unable to actually get that kill. So big dub there.
Okay, got double scuttle as well.
For the kill. Meanwhile, Busio had to clean up on the other side, so the Kalista didn't get the lion's share of the gold.
Things happened there as well. I think we saw Inspired steal away the blue buff. I didn't track if she took it away or not, but also quad rotating to the bot side of the match this way. Oh, just beautiful engage from On. Connects the stun, gets the crash down as well. And this is right, he said. Marsu's thinking to himself, if he could just get one more.
This is a tragedy. This is also a tragedy. These are the super mega strong lanes that we need. It's not like they just get mega outscaled instantly or anything like that. I just think the game is so much easier to play with stuff like Ornn and Victor later on than it is with Annie and stuff. Like Annie will need to find big stuns, Wukong will need to find good angles. If they do get that, they can still win like later on. Because Victor can be quite vulnerable and Corki, obviously he's got his W, but he can still be quite vulnerable. But it's still, Jesus, On went for Summoner Spellbook as well. The normal thing with Summoner Spellbook is like if you don't need a keystone and you're like in an easier lane, and you would think Kalista Renata should be one of the most powerful lanes, but On is like, nah, don't need Aftershock or anything, don't need to be more tanky. Let me just have no keystone at all until 6 minutes, and then half a one until 20 minutes or whatever it is.
We'll see if Kalista and Renata can bounce back and find what they were looking for early on here.
Plus, they also have the ward on blue buff, so FlyQuest are communicating right now, hey, Beishwan is not taking his blue buff. He might be looking bottom side, so FlyQuest have it in their minds.
There it is. Beishwan arrives, and Busio's about to die. Masu wants to get away. Busio throw back out on top of him.
Okay, good that they got away there. Didn't obviously have any flashes, but didn't need them. Just cleanse and the ult. But now you're still going to crash this wave, and it's timed well, so they're also going to deny some camps. So you get Void Grubs on the other side for FlyQuest. I think that's good. But it's going to be blue buff.
Regardless of what you think of him as a player in this tournament, he knows how to operate this champion. He plays around his lane priority extremely well. You're seeing it on your screen right now. Knowing that they have the push and bot, they move into the enemy jungle, they steal away those camps, and BLG mounting a small gold lead here, 9 minutes in.
No, oh no, they will. With top crash, they will be able to turn and the invade on the other side. So it's just going to be blue buff trade. So it was just wave crash and cleanse gone for grubs, which I think is actually fine. I still don't like that this is This is like. I still don't like this 2v2 is going so badly.
Ben, of course, does have a farm advantage here on the Ornn, and if you're out farming Renekton early with this powerful late game scaling tank, I feel like Ben's loving the current state of things. Busio taking a ton of
Flash. Oh. They still don't have Kalista. Oh, he doesn't die.
Now Beishwan showed up. Masu and Busio trying to get away. Masu flashing to try.
He doesn't die either.
And somehow FlyQuest.
Easy. They should both die there, and then and it's even more of a tragedy. How I see LR, they're running bot. They're running the game. If they're problems.
The plan for
Yeah.
BLG here is to just shut this bottom lane down.
Inspired using the clone early to get up.
Yeah. If you could have a really ahead top laner, but that's another reason why you would ban like Sion or Gragas, right? If you can have a really fed top laner, like in the games that we have beaten them, it's like when we've had like Chachi's mega popped off in one of the games, for example, or Jankos and Chachi were fed on the other game, and they can't take over the game.
Then BLG do have a very good route in this game, especially because they were able to get that early dragon.
I think they're only beatable when they get like caught a lot, or if you can actually like get a comp that can out team fight them basically. For either of those situations, I think, or obviously if someone gets mega ahead in lane. Trundle into Cho'Gath or something. Yeah, so even though game is pretty much even, Dragon for 3 grubs, Not feeling good.
Tonight with an 11 minutes rod of ages. Really nice timing on that.
Pantheon's going for the dragon.
We're seeing the Trinity Force Sportskeeper as well. I'm happy to see it return. We've been seeing a lot of Black Clavers and Trojans. I just like the spike that it gives you. BLG.
Orn shifts across the mid, so they're going to be able to get plates. They're going to be able to get camps on the other side.
We want to see FlyQuest looking to
You basically just like this is the mega like you weak side this side, strong side here, and you get the dragon. You lose some camps, you lose some minions, you lose a plate, but it's Orn losing that stuff, and somehow he's up in CS still. So it's not like Renekton needs to win lane to be useful, but you would hope against an Orn that you are still coming out of lane with the gold lead would be nice. Same with Kalista against Corki. They're not, these champs are not useless outside the lane or anything like that. But if another 15 minutes goes by, it starts getting tough.
This is the guy when you look at BLG's lineup, you expect him to be a top performer. You expect him to come in clutch and be able to carry the games if given the resources. Just taking over to level 11 now, they'll have a level 2 chaos.
Yeah, I think there'll be definitely stuff to think about. And like I say, we might do the same thing. We might do something new. We've got quite a different dynamic in the team, obviously, this time. I keep somehow... What am I clicking on? I must be clicking on something different because I press like pause or go back and it just doesn't work. So I have to click on the thing again. Because here, like, Pantheon just wants to fight this, but he wastes E. And so Inspired just sees that as the go signal. He's got double buff and he wastes E. So he's just going to solo kill him quite easily. And this is the thing, like, this is the way that FlyQuest play that I really love. Nice, the bailout comes through. Fuck. Nice ult. Hostile takeover saves them. Flashes over the wall. But this is the thing that I like what we've seen from, I don't know, even G2 and like Koi, this MSI sometimes is stuff, people doing this and then getting away with it. Like Pantheon cannot waste E against a double buff Wukong. And Inspired instantly punishes him for it.
And he knows that the extended fight, Wukong gets the better of the Pantheon. Utilizing the empowered E was not enough damage. Base run flashes early. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, it's a bot lane skirmish.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Inspired had just finished his Trinity Force and he wanted to use it. But there you go, the Orn call in.
And also he's just got Triforce, as I said, on the cast.
Also got the kill there, so in terms of gold gains, Flyquest very happy.
Yeah, I mean, plus Wibbo did finish up that topside tower, as we said, and he's going to have extra teleport. He did. You knew it. He called your shot, and then he shot. Yeah, so yeah, 24 towers by Wukong obviously is huge, and Malignance now does.
No, I didn't see the rough files. Completely blind. If we find a play that we want to go into in a lot more detail, I can grab the rough file. But for now, just completely blind. I'm trying to go through them fairly quickly to make sure that I get all of them because I don't know how many there are. So.
Have Wibbo teleport ready, but Knight is in the bot lane matching him.
So same again. This 2 dragons thing is still a worry for me. So they need to start picking up the pace of the game. The fact that BLG are on Herald picks up the pace of the game for them. Nice engage from On, and he just gets one shot, but Knight dies on the backside. Inspired coming through. Oh. Now Warnock comes back. Bucio's dead. Renekton's dead. And this is the thing, even with Victor gone, just hitting first target. Yeah, that's what I was saying. I think once you've got Annie and Renekton and Wukong, though, you're never winning front to back unless you ban the Orn. So they ban Cassante, Jace, right? Yeah, in the heavy engaged meta, and also in this situation, like, don't know what else you can take actually. I can't remember the bans, but I don't like Kalista. We've just, by the way, 2 of the highest prio score picks. So prio score is a bit of a wonky metric. It's trying to take into account Fearless and stuff like that. But 2 of the highest prio score picks at MSI are Twisted Fate and Kalista, and they have a 0% win rate. Normally, it's like the highest prio pick has a 100% win rate and is in like 5 games, and it just wins all the games. But this is the opposite. TF's in like 8 games, and he's lost all of them. Kalista's now in like 8 games, and looks like it's lost all of them. Annie comes out. They're going to get this tower and back away, I think. I mean, that's a like, with 3 dragons, like, you have to find these times to fight because it's so hard this game, I think. So Masu goes, nice engage. Hostile takeover. Big flank from Inspired. But it's not quite enough damage. They get 1, but then they trade it back. Elk is Annie is really low. And now it's the reverse of the last game. Phase 2 of the fight is always going to be in favor of BLG, and front to back is in favor of BLG. So FlyQuest need to make this first engage really stick and give them a substantial advantage. Otherwise, Corki, Victor, and stuff like Warner's big front lines and Rel is just going to be much stronger in the second half of the fight. So here, this like first engage looks quite good, with Inspired coming around from behind as well. Inspired gets through without being on vision until like now, which is really good. Nice combo, but he does flash out. And Inspired almost kills them. Like if Victor drops in this engage, then sure. But now, on this back end... Now they're just out of damage, basically. Yeah, so Quad getting a Tibbers on that same engage as well would have made this initial shotgun like better enough, gooder enough to actually get some kills, and then the back end of the fight's okay if 2 people are dead. You know, if Victor's dead, then it doesn't matter that you have less damage afterwards. But he doesn't quite die. And he's going to be tanky with the rower and stuff like that. I don't like this draft. And now they know, I think this is like desperation. Like they have to just try some things. So they just start Atacan to C. BLG do see it. Now they're TPing, clearing mid, TPing, clearing wave bot. 115 for... TP for that one wave is a bit weird, unless he can just get an item now. No, he had an item already. But now it's going to be Soul. So this will be probably the last fight. And now it's the problem. Like you have to make this fight happen, but everyone knows it's going to happen now. So finding the flank is harder and harder. So Orn clears one wave bot. He's not going to go too far forward. He's still close enough to just cool the horn. They have to find like a bunch of people waiting in this bush. And can they catch Elk? Did they catch him? Quads. Nah. But, I mean, nice try. Like, I think it should be. Okay, nice engage. I thought Wukong was already used. But Knight's killing all of them, isn't he? Yeah. Okay. No. Yeah, it's well, it's exactly what we talked about at the beginning, right? The first phase can look really good, and unless it looks good enough, the back end you're just gonna get murdered. So they get a really nice engage. Elk doesn't quite die, but like with Maso in the previous game, all his damage is gone now. Really, he just hits Tibbers a bit, and that's it. Masu does drop and doesn't get the reset. And Victor, both carries were not in the fight so far because Victor ran around the long way. And the fact that Inspired still has ult is really big. He almost turns this round, I think. And Atakan just chunks both of BLG's members. Whipper almost died. If Whipper had died then he wouldn't have got killed either of them. But Knight just murders them on the backside. Kalista is pretty decent with heavy engage. I think Kalista provides more engage, which is true, but I think... Oh my god, his fucking just killing everybody. I really don't like Kalista in this meta. I'm a big Kalista hater.
BLG tear FlyQuest apart. Is that Knight from
I think...
Arcade? He's not even done, boys.
Let me find it.
Masu gonna try to
Kalista.
get away from this one, but that's Kalista versus
MSI.
Max Victor, and it's not gonna look too good. You'd have to
Yeah.
think Masu falls
9 picks, 0% win rate. And I don't think it looked all that good. So Kalista gets some engage, but like I still think you just need to be too far ahead on Kalista.
Here we're going to see in our priceless moment presented by MasterCard at the complete wombo combo that deletes Inspired.
So again, they can just hit tanks. If both people are hitting tanks, then FlyQuest is going to lose, and this is why.
Through the jungle.
I mean, Knight just faces
I mean,
no threat. They
Knight
can
is just
comfortably play the front to back. And with the Pantheon
saying this
and
game is
the,
mega easy. So for me,
champion in the top lane,
oh Kai'Sa, sorry. Yeah, sorry, I thought you were talking about Kalista. I didn't see your correction afterwards. I think I like Kai'Sa. I think Kai'Sa can be really, really good in these comps. I think the one thing that you have to be a little bit cautious about with Kai'Sa is that if you start taking a lot of dive and then you also take Kai'Sa as well, the enemy has a couple of people like Xayah or something like that, it can be really problematic. I mean, same in the previous meta. We saw that at, in the finals against the LR in the very first game. We had a disagreement about if we should ban Kai'Sa or not, and I was saying like I don't care if you like the matchup, we have to ban Kai'Sa. And then afterwards, NX was like, yeah, we should have banned Kai'Sa. I mean Xayah, sorry. Because like if you have like one or two things where it's like, okay, we've got no targets for all our dive and all our engage, then that can be a real problem. And like the AoE engage isn't so good with Kai'Sa, but the dive is really strong. So the fact that champs like Vaya in the meta, Arya in the meta, they all go really well with Kai'Sa. Okay, whip on the front. This is a terrible engage, but maybe Victor is just so far ahead. Oh. I mean, Beichamp basically runs it down, and they still are going to win. What do you think about buffing Enchanter supports through Enchanter items or runes to encourage more diversity and fearless? Well, I think you do get Enchanters like later on, but it's because teamfights are so important in this meta that it's very hard, and this is why I don't like Kalista, because it's very hard to just like murder lane and then, I mean, they didn't even win lane here, but it's very hard to like murder lane and then just like snowball that into the game, because people just teamfight over everything, and people teamfight after the stuff is down. Like we've seen the LPL teams do it a lot, right? They lose the grubs and then they still teamfight after. So, I mean, we saw Karma in game 1 here. We're seeing Renata in game 2. You do see a little bit of it, but it is. I mean, in scrims, it is basically like, okay, now the melee supports are gone. What do we take, kind of thing. So maybe some buffs would be interesting, but I think it's a lot about the way the meta is and less about the champions, I think, and also you can swap around a lot as well. So enchanters are often like strong in lane, but if you just perma swap around and then your enemy engage lane is now level 5 against your level 5 and even, then it's much harder.
But really, you just need to let Knight do the work. Keep chipping at the HP bars of FlyQuest, utilizing that E.
But I think later on, stuff like Enchanter comps, where you have like Jinx and Lulu or something like that, can actually be really good. Or like Zeri Lulu, for example. Team fighting after every objective is why Kalista's fallen off. Yeah, exactly. That's a good point. If the bigger thing is the team fight afterwards than the objective itself, then you're right. Like Kalista's power at securing them isn't as good. And also they nerfed it so many times that it's like, it's good, but it's not that much better than like Varus QW. Buffing enchanters to make them more viable. Yeah, I mean, I think obviously anything you buff, you make it more picked, right? But the danger is like, if we get into a meta where enchanters are the thing we pick all the time, it's very hard to make it so that both options are valid at different levels of play. I would say potentially enchanters are much more viable in LEC than they are in other regions, especially LPL. And I think they probably are more viable than people give them credit for, but they don't pick them because the best teams in the world don't pick them. PSA don't want to see hard uncensored meta. That's a good idea. Okay, I'm going to quickly go to the toilet. I'll let them talk about the game, and then we'll jump to the next draft.
I saw some comment or interview from Whippo where he said sometimes you just give a team a super comp. I feel like this was one of those super comps. You know, like the Pantheon early, the way in which the Victor outranged everyone on with his engages was spectacular. BLG with a dominant performance here in game 2.
All right, we're all tied up. Let's head over to the analyst desk to break down game 2.
Like what couldn't exactly keep going the way it had in game. What did they say?
Go for Calista.
That
Best part about game 2 is that we cannot pick it anymore. Thank you for your list.
Thank you.
Did they not watch our segment in the beginning where you said I don't want to see this? Actually, to be fair, you did not get Calista off
I
that
did.
board.
I threw it off.
You
I threw
did?
off Calista and TF. Those were my first 2 targets.
He was quick with it too.
So can you really boil everything down to
No.
consequence of that or not?
No,
What do we
never.
think?
To me, draft is never where the game is fully decided, but I do think Calista really struggles to get value. And I think BLG did a really smart job of putting early pressure onto Calista, making sure that it could not snowball. We can actually just watch the reel. Because to me, the way that Calista succeeds is that you get advantages in the 2v2. You use that to stack dragons, but BLG was going right at them non-stop here. They were able to get first blood. It was traded back, but it was multiple ganks as well. Even when FlyQuest bot lane was escaping, they're getting put off tempo. They're going down in CS. They're being put further and further behind. Calista needs to play with a lead, otherwise it's going to really struggle.
0, 9, 0, and 6 for that bot lane, by the way.
Just to support the claim that you would already have made. And so, like, if we move back and take a look at the competition, you're completely right. Like, if you look at Calista, Annie, like Renata, a lot of it is we are taking early fights. We're not going to scale as well. But the idea is that if we muck it up at the beginning of the game, then we're just going to be losing on sides. We can't.
Okay. Right. Next game.
Career all time.
Yeah, crazy. You could say he's pretty good at
So here we got the Vi. So here, Kaiser, for example, I like
single game of IT1, but he does have some other options.
already.
Played career champion.
You could even go Kaiser on 3. I don't know about Kaiser into Senna though.
Crazy. You could say he's pretty good at Ari. Let's see what they complement because they also were hovering
Game
over
3 is Cinema.
which would ban out every single game of IT1, but he does have some other options here.
Yeah, true as well. I think it's good for Riot that the meta is lots of fighting. It's a good point. That's why they get rid of lane swaps and stuff, right? So. Okay, Poppy still being up though is a bit shocking because LPL teams normally absolutely love the Poppy.
There is so much value in steadfast presence. Ari's ultis and Bess's everything. Fly trying to get their end with the ball breakers, and now we'll get into the second half of the draft. BlackQuest are going to ban out the Ziggs. This is another pick. I like seeing them ban this away. We go back to the analyst at the top of the day, talking about how it's not that Monster is bad on Ziggs. It's just the fact that he's such a mechanical player. He's such a huge part of their DPS. Generally, I think a lot of people don't want to see him on something like this, so you ban it away to make sure that BLG can't pick it, and it's not really the ideal situation for you either, so you don't feel bad about it.
The respect towards the VAR ban. We heard Azale talking about it in the last post-match. He's kind of expecting it to come out in game 2. BLG aware of the possibility of this pick and how effective
Okay.
it's been on the champion. Its ability to
So much dive already.
ability you become easy to lock down. It just has so much flexibility.
Is Kaiser already gone? No. So Kaiser's still not banned as well. Ziggs can play artillery and follow up with the engage, like you played Xerath, for example. And now if they ban Bard, and are they really not going to... Like, what if they just go Kaiser and something? Ooh, Gangplank. I like that as well. Coming into, like, going into Gangplank when he's be able to set up the barrels is hard. Oh, sorry.
But that's the Kaiser that we were talking about, just double tripling down on the die. You've got so much backline threat. Who's just going to need something to help keep Marsu alive?
Yeah,
I can tell you right now.
Why is this Kaiser? Why is this Kaiser been allowed? I thought you'd have to go Kaiser on 3 because otherwise they're definitely going to ban it. I think Braum also could have worked, but I don't know if Senna Braum is any good.
So FlyQuest have kind of built a comp to receive the aggression from BLG. The question is, can you actually do that carefully, or can BLG just get their kills anyway? It's just fully dive and fully slow.
BLG mega want to dive. I don't like the fact they also got Kaiser. FlyQuest, I love the GP is a really nice idea. And I think Rise also is good when people are coming towards him. I don't really like... I mean, Masu has been the one person who's made Senna look good. I thought it was going to be Braum as well, like Senna Braum. I think that makes the Nautilus life absolutely miserable, but... I think here, if you're going to run this mega dive, I'd much rather ban... No, because Galio and Nazir also works. The fact they got Poppy, I really like for FlyQuest. I think that helps a lot. Also gives Inspired a lot of things to do early on. Yeah, I mean, Kaiser Nautilus, you'd think Braum would be loving life. So if ever Kaiser jumps in, she just gets... Okay, there you go. I think if BLG get ahead, this can look very bad very quickly. But as we jump into game 3, I think it's important to acknowledge in 144 international games played, he passes both Maple and Peanut for the 7th all-time. The man has become a staple of international competition.
Oh no.
Run into another pause.
And we'll see in the turn. They won't. Don't want
Say with confidence.
to get this fixed. We are the perfect. Take control. In fact,
There we go. For troubleshooting.
and unplug.
Let's jump to the actual game.
Let's get someone
There we
else
go.
to buy 10 more mice right now, just in case. Yeah, go to the mouse store.
And Ryze can be tanky enough to survive like the initial burst if possible.
Masu on this Senna in this game. This is a huge scaling pick, and we'll see how well FlyQuest, can protect him.
He's got those in his mouth now.
Because remember, the whole BLG comp is die.
Now we have to talk about Masu. Oh,
No shot. No.
I'm buying 50. Why would you bring him? He's got his unlocked.
Mouse.
I mean, this is a nightmare to play this, by the way. Like when it just keeps pausing. Because you probably can't talk during the pause. But also you have to be in this weird situation where you're ready to play because like the pause could be like 10 seconds, but it also could be an hour. And so you're like ready to play, but also not ready.
Alright, let's get into the action.
What happened, Betty? 20 minutes ago.
We picked some champs. 2 minutes in. We've got some cool drafts. Knight on his Ari. Yes. Base run on the Vi. We're expecting pressure around the mid lane on the bot side of the map. Center stacks. That's what I was about to talk about. So hook the next.
Okay, Lucio immediately disengages. And
He
it's
just
fire-
he takes Raptors and then just walks in.
Yeah, we've seen it actually a couple times, even at tournament already. But he did cross over Vision when he went to go steal that away.
Oh, Whippo versus Bin. The 1v1 is both are down to about 100
Oh my God.
HP. Bin drinking the potion as Whippo does the same. Those cooldowns early on. Bin, quick burst onto Whippo, but then without anything to fire back with. Whippo traded back aggressively and now has a slight HP advantage. Bin, though, is going to cast another round of spells as Whippo eats the orange.
Yeah, the Gangplank Trial by Fire, the passive is a lot of your early power, so we're trying to utilize that here against Ambessa before she has too much of a chance. He's running a little bit low on mana now, though. That is the main problem there with Ambessa being
Okay, and they are gonna no. Quad can always get the push, so it's hard for Beisharon to get this reverse invade, even though his bot lane has push because Kaiser wants the base. So it is just going to be like camps. Okay, now he's shown top again. Surely,
He has to be very, very careful with the positioning. That's
Yeah,
gonna be a
surely.
bit rough up there for Bin. Whippo goes to harass him a little bit, but Inspire could just do the crab. His jungle is just getting pilfered for this, though. Completely pillaged for denying Bin's Ambessa.
but Inspired has already taken camps away, so the fact that he's trading camps now is really good because he's not trading them like they're not gone, and he's actually going to take the tier 2 version of Wolves.
He looks like he's going to finish off the Wolves before going back. I was wondering if he's going to visit there again, but since Bin still has his flash, he wants to still keep up his income. So take the Wolves. Is going to go back.
So Inspired is like able to have has been able to have a really big impact on a lane and also be like equal in gold. And he gets flash now as well.
And you see there, if you have 4 ranged minions is enough to freeze a lane anywhere up there. So it's a really good spot still for Whippo. I believe he had like, oh, no, there's only 2 left.
Down the shot. Down the shot.
It's not even pushing back. It was building up, pushing back.
Okay, mid lane is going to return to their lane. As a trade comes through, connects once more.
Yeah, Busio still has some danger down here. The Ignite's already been used. Busio with counterattack, but pulverized. But there's not a lot of power early on from Masu Senna. Busio
Okay.
defensively to get away safely. But no, Masu drops instead out and on.
That's a tragedy.
Very nice punish from the BLG bot lane. As it inspired on the dragon.
Beisharon's going too aggressive though here, surely. Okay, but this Whippo TP is okay. So they full swap. Right.
Reset in motion to send their bottom lane up to the top side of the map. So they still get the objective, although the early gold lead here will remain for BLG off that kill.
And GP can do the sort of rumble thing, but I think he's better in the swap afterwards anyway. So he can one-shot the wave with ult. Well, one-shot. He can kill the wave with ult. And so you can just protect one wave on the weak side, but then you also are better with the like barrels and stuff for farming. So especially once he gets Triforce, which obviously is still going to be a while. Or even with the Sheen, right? He can one more level, he'll be able to one-shot the back line. Or one more level of E. E and Q, sorry. Thought it was level 8. He's not level 8. By level 9, I think he one-shots the back line.
And we should go back over because it was so long ago that we did talk about it, but the champion combinations here for FlyQuest are really built to scale and kind of lean into that center stacking and scaling as a team overall. You know, Gangplank trying to farm up as much gold as possible, extra gold, using the passive, and eventually they're going to have so many answers here for what BLG are showing. But BLG, they're showing a lot of hard engage, and so we'll see in the next 5 to 10 minutes when BLG start to turn it on.
But I like the idea of like, okay, we give them hard engage in the comp. Okay, but they've lost summoners, so very easy. But with this push, I don't know if they can actually do these because Poppy is stronger. Exactly. Ryze TPing. Oh.
Masu cancels his own recall, and with Inspire jumping in there and forcing Beisharon away from the Void Grub pit. Now Beisharon has made his way back towards it with the control of the top side.
Beisharon goes back in, and like as soon as they ult bot, like Inspired has to leave that. So yeah, they ulted bot, but it's gonna. That's the thing that costs you the Void Grubs because after you use the Vi ult, and Poppy is stronger than Vi anyway, like it was actually hard to get those still, even with the kill. But now they complete the swap. Senna gonna be going down mid. GP top this time. I like how FlyQuest are playing this. The more you keep swapping up the lanes, the harder it is to kind of snowball, assuming you don't make mistakes and get caught in between. And this freeze, for example, someone being up here to break it is important.
powers up. Let's see
If he can not die, though, that would be good. Let's go. I don't like clearing that wave is okay, but walking forward is a bit much. Okay, so the walking up afterwards was a bit deep. He has people coming. Knight uses all the charges, so even though he's going to get a reset, he's not going to be that strong. Quad is going to be much stronger in this fight. Oh, the combo. Okay, nice try, but... So it's always good for the team that has committed less resources if it's equal. So now we're dropping a wave bot, plates, and dragon. While the fight itself was even.
They tried to get everybody there, and they only got one kill back for that death. They spent so many resources up to the top side of the map. So BLG,
I think Whipper just walks way too far forward now.
And the dragon for themselves.
Exactly, Kobe. It was just such a huge investment for very little gain. And so BLG took that opportunity to get so much on the map. Great awareness from BLG. They've now amounted a 1.2k gold lead, and it's just kind of evenly spread across the side with the bulk of it sitting onto Elk. That bot lane already getting a 2 versus 2 kill early. They got the gank from base one as well, and now more resources spent towards the top side. I was expecting this to be a mid-focused early game plan for BLG, but no, they've been funneling everything into Elk, and he's looking to carry here in game 3.
Yeah, with all this extra money here for BLG, the threat behind their engage and their pick opportunities is going to be massive.
And you already said, Kobe, that the onus is on BLG. It's up to them to drive the pace of this game forward and make this dive comp work. And you've got the best diving AD carry in the game with 4 dive buddies ready for that lead. As Bin just continues scrapping with Whippo's gangplank. The shield's making it so Whippo doesn't even get any valuable damage in return. Perfect execution. Bin jumps in. Whippo about to gets the solo kill.
Bin getting rich is a very dangerous.
Now I'm starting to get worried. There's still like the scaling is good, and I like the GP and the rise as people like. So when enemies diving on us, we can just spread out so much damage.
Not only do I have more levels, so I've got now more CDR, but also I just have more damage than you. Takes an initial trade, fully commits, and now Busio in danger.
Busio has to pop ult. Now he's not going to be able to get here to help. And there's the dive. Massive's pushing mid though.
BLG don't have to slow the game down. They have so many ways to force skirmishes, force collapses, and this was another fantastic collapse. They got control of the midway. They moved into the top side jungle. Quad doesn't respect potential collapse.
And they can just rinse repeat this kind of stuff. Oh my god. How is this game cinema, Soul? At the moment, the game is a murder, and I should just keep becoming a murder. It should keep being a murder. And this is where, currently, it feels a bit silly. Okay, we gave them this mega dive comp. We didn't ban Kaiser and stuff, because we knew we were going to play this into it. And unfortunately, we're just getting murdered a bit in lane. So we're 3k down already. This should be the end of the game. Like, it should be done. Should be too big a lead. I'm cursing them as much as I can, even though it's already happened. Oh, nice. If that ult hits, I think he gets out. But okay. Let's slow this down. So they're fighting for this pink. Busio thinks because we've got someone, we killed someone, it's okay. But On gets the flash engage onto Quad with the follow up. Ugh. This might be good on the backside though. Inspired gets a really nice ult, good stun as well. Elk's not big enough to do huge amounts of damage here. Knight jumps back in, but he can't do enough to get any kills. He might die here. They just ran out a little bit. Hey man. Yeah, doing good. I still don't know the result of this game, but I'm enjoying it so far.
Have brought it down to 2. Getting a couple of shutdowns, getting that kill onto base 1 was massive, and this is what we needed to see from FlyQuest, finding picks on the map. This engage looks very suspicious. A quick TP comes through from BLG, a nice,
but the TP coming across and Inspired.
To take out Quad. The collapse from both Whippo and Inspired.
Nice ult from Inspired. Gets his ult and timing.
Get themselves 2 kills in exchange.
Yeah, huge poppy value there. Knocking him out. Also, they caught on the Gangplank ultimate too, so a bunch of value there. And FlyQuest bringing this one back to within reach. It might have been a stumbling point there for BLG.
And also look, 1.1k gold lead on support, so that part's much less of a big deal. Yeah, he's got the locket now, but as soon as locket gets matched, it's going to be a long time before it's like another item.
With the stack ship completed, he has access to a lot more wave now, and his stacking continues to be on point. We're getting closer to 20 minutes, and he's well on pace to above the 50 stacks mark. BLG, though, they're not going to slow down their aggression. They know they're in the driver's seat. They've set their eyes on the top side of the map. They want to contest this tier 2 tower.
Meanwhile, you're going to see Inspired working on the next Drake.
And GP can clear some of this, but I think they're just going to hard force it.
Tier 2 in the top lane. That is BLG grabbing their second turret of the game. Both of them here in the top side.
This should still be the end of the game. It should still be done.
Push the wave, steal the Raptors, take that gold for themselves. Yeah,
They just do that. They just push up mid and they go to the side. And they push up mid and go to the side. And every time you have to back away, every time you have to give them space, otherwise you just get jumped on with all the dive.
Where it is, and it's 1.3k gold in favor of On. Now, of course, having an extra support item always a nice thing to have. But in terms of carry itemization, Knights takes a bit of damage. In terms of carry itemization, FlyQuest is not that far behind. The two mid lanes are pretty evenly matched. The Herald will drop in mid as BLG do not want to slow this game down.
Yeah, important to note though, Elk is on the 2 fully completed item power spike for Kaisa. Very, very threatening here on this 80 carry pick to dive in with everybody.
Yeah, now Kaiser's starting to get upgrades and evolves as well. It starts to get a little bit harder. But still, a massive group top fight is not one-sided or anything like that.
And with BLG still sitting on a 3,000 gold lead, I feel like this is probably going to be our next battlefield.
Look at Knight sitting in this top lane. He is so deep. But he's playing with so much confidence because of that control that he has. He feels very safe with his ultimate and his flash available. And on the side lane,
Knight just generates massive tempo. I really like the GP into this kind of comp. It's a really interesting idea.
We're kind of at a little bit of a tipping point here, though. BLG, they can tip over and get a couple more big objectives for themselves.
They get the one tower, then they just shift across to the other side. They get the other tower, and all this time you can't contest them because someone had to go top. So Knight pushes up this wave, then they have more numbers on mid, so you have to lose mid, then they push up mid wave, then they go towards bot, and because someone's still here, you can't stop them. And if you sit under a tower, you get dived instantly.
Really scary stuff here right now. Fly as BLG are just not letting up. Relentless now, as you can see. All of those second item power spikes starting to come online. Spear plus Eclipse for Bin's Ambassador. Black Cleaver now done for base 1 on the Vi as well.
Now I want to see, will FlyQuest go for one of these trailing split push plays? Because they have so many options with their global ultimates, with Gangplank, with the Senna here, and the Realm War possibilities. Nobody right now. They are looking for a mid push first to finish off this objective. This tower's already fairly low. Flames come in from Vi, though.
Serpent's Fang on Whippoid counter shield of Bin, of Vi, of the Kaisa as well. The Killer Instinct could be the difference between cutting that shield in half. Could be the difference between life and death.
Good job there by FlyQuest not getting baited in by the low health turret. They actually do get one of the teleports out for themselves, and they escape up to the top side.
BLG control the top side. River Autocons.
Okay.
FlyQuest gonna have to try to make sure that they can at least have some information.
Knight teleports down. It'll be the Atakan. It'll be the next dragons. They've got 2 dragons already fly, so they can stall the game for a little bit longer. Okay, so this is the big break moment. Fuck. Let me control it.
They know this Gangplank wants to keep farming in the side lane. They know that he wants to keep scaling.
So Ryze has been pushed in. They crashed in mid wave. They take one bot wave and they do dragon. This is like Atakan. This is like classic LPL. They're trying to look for a fight, but the engage doesn't land. Neither of the engages land. Ult is also wasted, and they just get chased away.
Cannon barrage already used, forcing BLG back. Now Autocon down to 3,000 HP. FlyQuest still thinking about it, but Keeper's verdict.
Oh. I mean, 50-50 is good when you're behind, okay? So that's okay. So I think what BLG want in this situation is they want this fight to happen. But the problem is that they whiff that engage, then they whiff the charm, and then they just ult anyway. So they're already backing off because as soon as this part of their dive is gone, they don't have anything left to follow up. And Bin is not here. Bin is not here on a big angle. What I would like is for Bin to be TPing somewhere already and go for a much more secured fight. The GP ult does come down though, and they've all just got those stacks, so they're like much more squishy. Poppy ult just misses, and they just about... That is so close, by the way. Like, Busio's trying to keep Vi away. Like, if here, look, he's trying to stop the Vi. He has to dodge the hook, otherwise he can't stop the Vi. And he's like headbutting Vi now as the smite comes down. Hey, Duckling. Yeah, I'm happy to. I'll message you on Twitter or something. Or you can join my Discord and then add me from there. What is it? What is my Discord?
I think it's a worthwhile trade for BLG.
That was quite big. The power behind it could be huge, especially because their comp is built to get a kill very quickly. So you
it's not finished yet, but it will be. Well, that's obviously you can see it through the server as well, but that's my Discord.
Exactly. FlyQuest trying to use the opportunity with On's death timer just now ending. He's got to make his way back onto the rift the long way. Nautilus forced to walk all the way.
So FlyQuest now in position. Nice combo. Senel. Now you can't. Okay, now the dive starts to come in. Are they going to have enough? Bin gets one. Base one just dies while everyone else is killing someone else. Elk jumps in, but they're still together. FlyQuest. No. Strategy. They can't take the dragon though, can they? Maybe they can.
It's a bot river bloodbath.
It's an insanely close fight between the two, but Elk was the difference maker. Patient with his ultimate. He does not go in too early, recognizing and waiting for his right opportunity. He gains access onto the back line. He collapses onto the rest of FlyQuest, and he turns.
Oh, that's the other play.
All the way to the Alicant fight, starting on the top side.
So we already covered that one.
He's gonna flash in range. He's gonna land the smite just in time.
This one is okay. Very aggressive combo, and then on this backside, like the flash pulls base one, base one, but then no one can kill Elk anyway.
Kills. That was a very close one, and now it is going to be pretty heavily towards BLG. They pick up their second dragon, so they relieve some of that pressure there, working towards that dragon soul and use the extra gold. FlyQuest though, defense is still possible. Just gets much more difficult.
Just no cinema ink. Okay. Okay.
Even Drake states now trying to see how much more they can force here. FlyQuest still quickly though have control of their own side of the map. They can still secure their own buffs. I want to take a moment to shout out Baseline there because that was such a big play up by Otacon, and he's only been on this BLG team for a couple months, and there's a lot of pressure on his shoulders considering the star players that he has joined on this team, especially on Knight and Bin. You look at these names, and to have a clutch moment on the international stage could bode well for the future.
BLG have developed quite the history now when it comes to junglers, and they've been trying to find that one piece that can help bring the team together, and that's what Baseline was able to do. So you want about his ceiling potential player, what he's been able to show. What he does do is he helps bring this BLG team together, and he's doing it in this game 3.
Right now, Nashers 2 is completed for L3.
Okay, still should be heavily BLG favored, to be quite honest.
As an individual, we were talking earlier about how a lot of the BLG gold lead is on the support, how that can be less effective than the gold being placed elsewhere. 2,500, almost 3,000 gold on a Kaisa in a full dive comp. Elk is armed and dangerous. He has everything he needs to carry this game. Yeah, you could say that's effective. That is a very effective Kaisa right there, and we'll see if they can find their engage over the wall. Gonna get jumped on here.
Okay, Nautilus can get engaged on.
Kaisa in a full dive comp.
So GP is top, does have the ult.
He has everything he needs to carry this game.
Starting to scale up as well. Rise has 2.5 items. He's already annoying. Whipper has the shield reduction thing. It's interesting. Oof. Really nice ult from Inspired. But it's just too much. I think you're trolling me. I think this game is not close. I think this game never gets close. They can't throw it from here, can they? It's my hope. They're just so far behind, and you get a perfect poppy ult, but surely we'll not throw this game. Okay, 9k gold lead.
I would not be surprised at all to see them go for the kill shot. Why they still have this buff. Whippo and Inspire trying to defend here at the tier 2 turret, but FlyQuest is now so far behind. We're past the realm where FlyQuest can try to make a big move of their own. They're going to need a mistake from BLG, but BLG have all been sending it all together all game long. And FlyQuest though, they still have to remain with the game plan. They're trying to play defense while get resources by split pushing. You see Rise on the top side of the map trying to push out, look for the objective bounty, while the rest of the team clears waves. Gangplank very effective at clearing waves here. They're trying to buy themselves.
GP does, yeah. Good point from Kobe. GT does have some really good wave clear. Nice hook. It's too much though. They do get the Rise TP, but and this is where, like, if this was Soul, or they would have already had Soul, I guess, it's quite a big difference. So these scaling comps getting Cupping Valley Dragons is really, really useful.
And look at Elk's inventory. Seeker's arm guard on the Kaisa. This is the green light to fly into the fight whenever he wants to. BLG's next fight, for a game that's already been explosive, is going to be that much more. FlyQuest are going to have to have an epic defense for themselves for the next 5 to 10 minutes. The dragon coming up is going to be very, very dangerous. That Soul is super hard for them to approach, but they're trying to get as much money as they can. Try not give up anything before the fight actually draws them out onto the map. Cloud Soul always valuable for the movement speed, but you always think about the ultis.
One stopping someone for the base. And Knight gets a side lane tower again. Surely. So they've got 3 minutes on X Baron, they've got 3 minutes on Soul. Soul is really obnoxiously good for these dive comps. Cloud Soul is insanely good for them. Okay. It should be unlosable at this stage, I think. I think that's fair. Okay, On goes a bit far forward. He hooks in. That's hella Brov hook if ever I've seen one. And they get the Ariel too. Obviously Ariel with Malignance at this stage in the game is like no cooldown, but still.
Just a few more of those, and I'll reduce the gold gap. 25 more Nautiluses, and they might be back to some parity. Hey, the more time you store, the more time you give to your center.
I mean, this is sometimes what happens with Nautilus. It's just like an int Nautilus kind of game.
At this point in time, remember that there's a decent amount of standing gold with all these towers still available. One good fight could swing the momentum massively.
Okay, 140 now. 1 minute on Baron, 140 on Soul.
But even if you killed Nautilus 25 times in a row and he did not get a reduced death
Yeah, should be unlosable.
I just gotta make sure that we all understand how dire these streaks are for FlyQuest as BLG.
Okay. On just needs people a little bit closer to him so that when he gets caught, he gets the engage and then they win anyway. So he dumps a bunch of wards, recalls, TPs. Oh, he's also got Aurora. I was wondering why he dies so instantly all the time. He's also got Spellbook again.
A wise man once said, if you don't have faith, why are you even here? Down almost 10,000 gold. Vancouver, do you believe in the defense? Do you believe in...
They seem to as On tries to go in for the engage and
Oh, Inspired with a big ult again. He's always hitting Knight away. And On is just dying instantly.
Downflowers, we're back into the kills. FlyQuest, they're holding strong for now, but look at those minion waves on the minimap. Bot is being pushed in, top as well. BLG still exuding that pressure across the map, and FlyQuest, they're funneled into the river.
Doing my best to invoke the ancient magic here. FlyQuest pushing in as 5 with the dragon only 9 seconds away.
Okay, Vi's coming around from behind.
for BLG is about to spawn, and On's not even alive for another 10 seconds.
They're just going to force them onto Baron though.
You want to take the dragon, go ahead. You're only on 2. They're
It's just the trade. Elk does it so fast.
They're not doing it particularly quickly, so FlyQuest
But you can hold. Oh, what?
to try to stop them. It's the cannon barrage to start things off. Knight is trying to cover for the rest of
Oh, they stopped them with the Ryzen GPL.
the Baron starts to regenerate, and On is alive and back on the map. He's making his way up to the rest of BLG. Elk's at only about 60% health, but nobody seems to want
It's not even so much like
FlyQuest, the defense is good.
BLG makes some huge mega throw.
He actually calls it off though.
I mean, On dies a couple of times.
Bottom lane.
Sillily.
Yeah, they're really problematic.
But FlyQuest playing this well.
To concede the pressure that they have on the map right now, but they need to address these waves.
And this is the state of the game at the moment. You lose one fight now, you can just lose everything. The whole Goldie goes because of all the shutdowns and stuff like that.
He is so close to a death cap, and we talked about it as a dream, but FlyQuest are looking to make the defense a reality.
Yeah, the teleport's coming in from Quad and immediately.
I mean, he's just so squishy. Oh, he gets a knockback as well. Inspired! Why did we let this guy go to NA? Oh my god. Okay, so they just actually play insanely well. So like, okay, right. Okay. But like, so On without Aftershock is one tap. So he can't play like he's playing. He can't be the like, I just took in and we get an engage off, but I die, because he dies literally before he even gets an engage off. And people are far too far away. They realm up the minions. Is that going to be the end of the game? Because I want to look at that fight again. Because Inspired mega smurfs this whole fight. Okay. Okay, so we will see the fight. Surely, don't you tell me. That's the end of the game now. Jesus Christ. Fucking hell. Okay. So let's look at this fight again. Oh my god, I went back too far. So like I say, On doesn't have Aftershock. So he is absolutely paper.
It's just a brush camp as well.
We talked about it as a
So here he's going way too far forward. Like he's trying to find some combo with Knight, but the charm misses and then he hooks. So then he just gets knocked in and they kill him without using anything really. W from center, E from Inspired. And then Inspired runs forward with the flashes away from the Q as well, so he's higher HP. Flashes into the pit instantly, so it's definitely going to be a fight. Then gets the knockback onto Vi. I mean, Poppy is insane, by the way. Poppy is so strong. Okay, but then they die.
Vega looking like Oriana tier at the moment.
So now Varus has been led up.
So now we're looking at even like 6 mid lane. Oh, we're really getting deep mid lane ball now, aren't we?
Silence is still up.
I feel like this game deserves to be. I mean, well, that game shouldn't have been close, but the game deserves to be 5. Like the series deserves to be 5 games.
Oh, Kali looks good down as well. One of the more mobile mid lane champions that we see.
We get a fourth mid lane ban in the second.
Exactly. Yeah, I think that's a really good point.
Target solo laners specifically.
Supports are so used to having aftershock that when they don't have aftershock, they just run it.
I feel like Wei has a lot of good range.
It's much easier to just like insta run it.
Champions though needs more combos.
And at this point, we are just kind of throwing darts at the dartboard.
That is wide. Yeah. Pull it apart, make it wider. Pull it
Yeah, you gotta add more in the middle as the series goes on.
Get that gap in the middle.
Find a third guy.
Oh,
We
yeah.
were literally talking about this today.
I told you. Set into
Okay.
Yorick is the pick for Whippo.
Set into Yorick. Can you pull him into the ghouls? I guess.
Yorick, but like, it's not a matchup I'm personally very familiar with.
Set is very
No, I don't know the
really
outcome.
loves this champion and wants to try and pressure early. So
Kindred is so good.
true. They're 2v2. They're 2v2.
I'm just saying. I think this series deserves 5 games based on how these games have gone. I don't know. I don't know if it got 5 games, and I don't know who won if it did.
Trundle and Set are pretty good at that.
Well, we've also got a massively AD favoring comp for the side of BLG with Tristana mid and in the Varus bottom. Yeah, you'll get some magic damage out of the Maokai. I expect to probably see.
Okay, so it's because it's Trundle blind pick. Like
I think the FlyQuest have a decent amount of range at their disposal. You think of both Jhin plus Wei, a lot of potential pokes.
there's gonna be no tanks
The Trundle and the Set are also just fantastic
because you're just running this like EU comp, Varus and Poke Maokai. Wei does have a lot of engage and sorry range, and Jhin as well, and Bard has some good engage too. I'm a little bit worried still comp wise.
Which means that they don't have the easiest front line, and it makes it a little bit harder to face check those objectives. So if they are second to things like a dragon, it can be difficult to approach a Set at a bar.
Well, I mean, thinking back on the past couple of games.
Yeah, whoever's first to the objective has a massive advantage because you can't really check into like saplings and poke and stuff like that. But also there's no one on
And Busio, Elkin on have been getting the better of their opponents.
no one on
And now with Elk on Varus. One of
BLG who's tanky enough for
a variety of situations, particularly powerful in the lane.
checking stuff.
BLG has a very sharp lane in the bottom lane.
Definitely agree. Flowers. We're gonna get a little exchange early on, but shouldn't turn into too much. We do have a sweeper start for on here. So you're just gonna go for his recall though.
Yeah, I don't have the resources to make do the stream and then have someone edit it down to highlights. So we just watch it at times 2 together, and this is the new system. I prefer this, like more like a watch party than
I have some experience because I did cast the series. How do you guys feel now that you see
than
the
anything else.
I was there.
Oh, you were there.
It was you, Zayla, and I.
Oh, yeah,
I was also
How do you
there.
feel, Kobe?
I'm literally stuck in the last game at the Nexus. I'm thinking why.
All right, Whippo's at least going to start off by giving Ben a couple of punches here in the jungle. Whippo's happy to try to keep these trades going for a longer period of time, but remember that Ben does have help closer by. So
That is a very cool set skin.
Really early on though, trying to make use of his passive, stacking up his Conqueror here.
He's just sacrificing farm.
yeah, and he's just beating the snot out of Ben.
That's what you want to do on your Set. Always just go fist fight them right at the beginning. Get rid of it.
Like that.
Exactly. Use your passive.
See, this is what I like about Whippo is like the weird counter picks.
Really well played by Whippo. I love that level of confidence. Now Knight was in confidence himself, committing to the trade in the mid lane. Nice straight back from quad.
Yeah, both mid laners now drinking their potions.
And keep thinking whenever you
Carry
want
the
to,
numbers,
for
carry
any
the
champion
team.
might want to go for the brutal level ones. You want that vision on blue Grump. So that ward key there, it does see the base one start, does see that's going to be top side down to bottom side for the Maokai. So that allows Whippo to continue playing aggressively.
Lucio walking over a ward as he makes his way into the BLG jungle, but now Peixwan, he's gone the wrong side of the field. He has to flash.
Yeah, exactly. As well, like doing these weird matchups does allow you to have like that information advantage.
Playing aggressively.
Lucio walking over a ward as he makes his way
Okay.
into the BLG jungle, but now Peixwan, he's gone the wrong side of the field. He has to flash away to stay alive as inspired, and Lucio trying to evade, but he's here with the grand
They
entrance.
jump back over. Set TPs.
That teleport takes forever to channel at this point in the game. So Whippo teleports deep into enemy territory, and now it's time to walk all the way back top.
I don't agree with that teleport. I understand wanting to be there to help generate the numbers, but you kind of just concede.
I think you had such a good advantage in top lane, and now you've
Because the wave is pushing towards him. The race is on. Will they end up losing the cannon?
Get alive there, get there.
With their time.
Try to get it. No, sniped down by
Got the XP though.
he got the XP. That's fine.
From FlyQuest. Busio working with Inspire to move the enemy jungle and steal camps away. This Maokai cannot contest the Trundle in these early levels and taking away.
Yeah, there's a few people with the Nunu
They need to use their early.
where they've started TPing away when they're standing in his E.
Trundle utilize the early power. Bottom side as well, pushing in does bode well. If you can push on bottom side, open up some roam timers there for Busio on the Bard. Busio loves going for early recall.
But also, I do think that when the ghouls spawn, you can use them to stun him, probably, right?
Straight into auto Q to help with that quick reset. Just means you get a nice advantage. But both not feeling the need to use that W. He probably would have got damage out of it anyway.
Busio is like we're looking for, going for that top half of the map, open off of his recall. I did notice there were blue question mark kings though on that.
Okay.
recall, so
Varus TPing, and they TP for the swap.
rotation for FlyQuest saying, hey, Bard is roaming right now, and so they make their swap utilizing the teleport from Elk. Wise decision here from BLG.
To collect a bunch of gold as well.
So BLG guaranteeing the swap. Busio here to assist though.
Now Whippo wants to get this shoved up. Goes to face breaker there. Haymaker will clear out the last bit of the wave. Gets that one ready to crash, but Elkin on.
They're trying to play for this freeze, but they can't quite. Oh no, they can. They hold the freeze.
Still auto attacking. Doesn't really matter a whole lot. Whippo
So these swaps for the freezes are a new thing, and they start to get really fucking annoying because you just swap for the gold, you don't swap for an objective. So they give a load of gold to Varus because he picks up the wave, and now he's like a wave ahead.
Ultimately, a small gold advantage in favor of FlyQuest. That first dragon of the game is available. You can see both junglers heading towards it. I think Baseman just wanting to get a bit of information.
Worried
is Inspired. They want to start it soon. Whippo, though, jungler's in the area.
Yeah, but he's immediately going in for the combo despite that. Gets caught up in the cage here, takes a little bit of extra damage. Baseone's nearby, but it doesn't matter a whole lot now. Knight could be in some danger. Busio rotating over to the mid lane.
Okay.
Sidesteps away from that severing bolt. Remember, when you're isolated, the thing
Nice sidestep from
damage.
Knight.
Whippo finds another nice face breaker there onto Bin, forcing him all the way back underneath the tier 1 turret.
And they should pull out that dragon started up here because they Whippo's able to win.
Yeah, I think he has not played this matchup.
Actually, he's not even gonna force a teleport. Vince is walking back.
I don't know why he would have.
So he's going to take a walk over. Now, Quad still retains his CS lead from the early levels that we saw and that extra little fight that broke out around Raptors. It did draw Knight over onto Sana and using his rockets up there. So Quad also with his little bit of CS lead.
TP coming in.
Monster's under fire. Monster's been in pain this one, and he's the one kind of suffering.
Exactly.
On loves himself his spellbook. His spellbook every game. I think last time it was did cost him a little bit.
Bin level 6 now on the Yorick, made him available, but Bin is down 32 to 55 in farm. Whippo really leveraging the power of this set to keep Bin away from resources in that matchup as Masu and Busio trying to get the wave shoved up here on the top side. Baseone's nearby. He's got the ultimate ready. Nature's Grasp could come through here as, no, looks like FlyQuest will take their magical exit and get out of the way.
The swaps are the biggest reason that we see for these deficits. The fact that Whippo is allowed to stay top lane and just catch that wave on top of the fact that a freeze was generated by Elk, denying a lot of farm away from Masu, has kind of put them in this unfortunate position. Does mean that both sides have very clear strengths that they can look to try and play through. As Whippo starting to lose out on these trades now. Nicely done by Bin.
She's so strong, especially when the only defensive mechanisms you have are health, considering she does that percent HP damage. Elk flashing away from the second shot.
Okay.
Misses. The curtain call ultimately not putting on much of a show.
Because of the trundle,
Play through. As Whippo
he has to flash. But I think they're going to get 2 grubs and get out.
Especially when the only defensive mechanisms you have
BLG.
considering she does that percent HP damage.
So they get flash on top lane, but they
Misses. The curtain call ultimately not putting on
lose the
much of a show.
objectives. Yeah, they trade 1 for 2.
Some of these grub takes. The third grub is the only one left, and all three
Oh.
secured by BLG.
Was it secured by LG? No, it wasn't. It's just because they got 2, so it comes up as they killed it. But this, like, you don't need to fight this, do you? I mean, it's LPL teams, so need to fight and do fight is not exactly...
Secured by BLG. Never mind, FlyQuest did get themselves the one. Now Masu under pressure from Knight. Bass and Maokai ulti coming through. Inspired taking a ton of damage here on the front line, but the first kill's already going over to Knight. Basewan, 200 HP, trying to get away. But Quad paints a picture, and it's a eulogy for BLG.
Well,
Actually, Smurfy can predict Baseone's flash there to get the extra kill. 2 onto Quad and Whippo going pretty ham.
Yeah, he's using the showstopper. He's already pulled out the haymaker, though, so his health bar is pretty
but
low.
with these Qs, like... Oh my god. This is how the lane, like...
Whippo did not get as much damage as he wanted out of that W. Bin in the extended fight was able to win out thanks to the assist.
Doesn't look quite so hot.
Oh, that's 2 dash shots, Bin. The TP's going to come through. He's going to have to reset.
Now that the 6 has come through, it doesn't look quite so hot.
It's a huge team fight win on the top side. Quad being able to pick up 2 kills. It looked like quite a good fight initially for BLG. They got massive Maokai ultimate. Now he's getting huge damage down onto Masu. And the poke comes through from Elk looking good. But then the damage just kind of runs out. Elk is landing a few auto attacks here and there, while Inspired and Quad just dish out non-stop constant damage. And they end up swinging the kills in their favor.
Quad is going to be the hope for the FlyQuest team with the early CS advantage. Now he's on his first item spike here with the Ludens. Big burst damage available. But Bin getting money, once again, is always a problem. Bin on his Yorick.
Yeah, Bin is scary now that he's got the maiden. Now that the Yorick is really on top. Yeah, he's down 30 farm, but because he got that kill.
Okay, it doesn't seem
And you mentioned how Quad is the hope for FlyQuest. That's a different
like it's quite as strong a counter as we would all have hoped.
In favor of BLG, in favor of Knight, and Quad has come up short in that matchup in these games so far. But this time around, he's the one with the resources. He's the one who got the early kills. Game 4 could be Quad's chance to prove himself against Knight.
Certainly could be. The bigger problem is Bin on the other side of the map. Yes, he's down about 15 CS, but another play. He's going to get an extra one off the back of that. And look at that 500 gold advantage over Whippo. These armor boots doing some serious work in the 1 versus 1, helping mitigate a lot of the early game character come through. Quad, careful against on, full praise. Masu gets engaged on.
Now Knight jumping in here should be able to fully arm that explosive charge. Whippo's matchup into Bin, he was dominating early on, but as soon as the maiden was summoned up, the matchup just got turned on its head. Ever since then, Bin has felt like he's got so much more presence in the lane.
Yeah, and that kill going the other way, even with the roam down from Busio, is so big too. If he had been able to get that on the side of Whippo and get to the strike breaker early, but Busio's back out onto the map again, just cruising around, annoying people.
Yeah, it's not like you're going to be able to threaten the real kill onto Knight here, but you can at least be super annoying as third shot misses, so fourth shot won't matter.
Actually, a really good
Okay.
kill there. If they land a snare,
They chunk him out. That means they're going to get pushed in mid.
they'll continue on with their dragon stacking plan for FlyQuest, regardless of the extra money that has gone.
I mean, FlyQuest are in a really good spot.
Very slow-paced early game here. As Busio tries to go in for tempered fate, but won't land it onto Bin. A nice cage from the Yorick, but Whippo's going to be one tanking the turret into the haymaker.
They are able to kill the Yorick as well. I want to see the map.
Nice dive from FlyQuest. Bin was trying to respect.
On the top side, there's nothing really. I think they can actually just...
Whippo was more than ready to dive.
They can't TP actually.
Over his opponent. But the problem with that is you leave top exposed. Elk can have access onto these plates, and BLG's doing a good job of cross-mapping where they can.
Yeah, a lot of minions dying to tower up there, but the same is true on the other side here. And again, Quad getting money so much focused into this way. This champion now has the potential to put out large amounts of AoE damage in team fights as long as they keep it safe.
I mean, Wei being fed is just really, really good, I think, for FlyQuest. Because he's the one who can by himself, like, reply to all the poke.
Not sure what the game plan was.
Which is really good.
Maokai was in the top river. Maybe they wanted to try and get his flash out.
Trundle, Jin, really good for set. Anyone gets pillared, Jin trapped.
Convert it into much. Strike breaker now being-
Yeah, set, like anyone like set, any of these like bruisers that you don't see very much, to be honest, a big reason you don't see them very much is their trouble with their ability of sticking to people, and Jin really helps with that, with the W. So you see it like Jin and Gwen and Jin and Xin and stuff like that, who obviously also in less trouble sticking to people, but it's really good for like, if you're a Darius, it's better to have Jin on your team than not. If you're a set, for sure the same. Trundle is the same as well. So either some CC or some extra way. Let's see if Quid dies here. I mean, Quid getting return. Ah! W resets tower damage. Tower aggro. Okay. It's gone wild. Oh my god, it's gone wild. So on times 2, this is even more insane. Okay. So what happened? Whippo inspired set Trundle one-shot this tower, which is really cool. They've got the Triforce already as well, and they get the Herald. So massive lead for Trundle, which is really good. As soon now he's got Leandries, it's not as big a deal, but still really good. But then on the other side, Quad doesn't quite get the return kill because of the W resets tower damage, aggro, sorry, on Maokai.
Because Whippo inspired Quad, Masu, Booster. That's all 5 of them. Nobody has a dash. Nobody has a blink. Yeah, you've got the ability to go on a magical journey for Bard. Set can use the showstopper, but it needs to be right next to you. That little bit extra move speed could be so critical for everyone.
Yeah, definitely agree. You know, the positioning on a set ultimate could change an entire team fight. His flash cooldown critical as well.
Oh,
Nice.
nice timing. Really nice timing. And they pick up another couple of kills. It should go to 5 games. Good. Good.
The expression the park is worse than that bike, but I'm telling you right now, Spike hurts really hard. He chases down 2 BLG members, finds some quick picks on the top side of the map. Whippo is going to respond to this dragon now.
They get the tower.
Was going to be the character for this team while Inside is taking the spotlight right away from him. 1.4k the gold lead for him. The Trinity Force finish on this Trundle.
No, I'm not sure. After last game, I'm not sure about anything, but they should. I think they're in a good spot. Okay, but they're both TPing in behind, but Bin is just way less tanky. I'm trying not to get worried about the fact that it's starting to look like it's near the end of the VOD. So it's just the double TPs like coming in. And when they both TP in, when they both TP in, they also get Trundle ulted. Like, Yorick gets Trundle ulted, and then he's just really huge pick. They've got Soul coming up soon. 4 minutes. They've got their Rift Herald, so they're going to try and pressure it to get mid lane tower. Way's going to come over as well. That's aggressive. Nice. Nope. Smited. Whippo W. Nice. Huge. They're just absolutely running over the game. Okay. I mean, Inspired is so fucking good, by the way. And now, like, BLG are already really desperate. You just need to not give them, like, Atakan, not give them, like, full control over stuff. You just make sure you're there early enough for this dragon, and it should be really, really difficult for them. Yeah, insanely good. I mean, Inspired should... Like, he should never have not had offers. Nemesis, Crowny, Inspired should never be in a situation where they're not getting offers in the LEC and they're, like, done with it. It's wild. That's. I mean, if you took all the best European players and you crafted teams, we would have some fucking insanely good teams. But that's not the case. That's not the world that we live in. The talent is kind of all over the place, but also loads of it is just not playing or playing in other regions. Oh, fuck's sake. Still gonna die. You could make a team quite easily, yeah, of European players who aren't in the LEC, that would be an LEC title contender for sure. Exactly. Bwippo inspired Nemesis Crown, already done. You don't need to think about it. Get Reckless and support done. Like, that is not that they would definitely win, but like the point is that there's a bunch of talent, and there's more. Like, there's a bunch of talent that's been misused. There's a bunch of talent that has been like that. You had your one shot. I don't know what Checo Lad needs to do to get more LEC trials, but
BLG looking for some kind of an angle to try to approach, but immediately Bwippo already starts it up and Beishwan's under pressure. Nature's grab fires out. Bwippo's still here in the front line. On goes in for the charm onto Inspire. They've already got him low, but it ain't gonna be low enough. Masu with a first kill. FlyQuest one more. Bwippo.
there to get the soul, but he's had no W. Okay, so 4K, but soul and like Way with soul and stuff like that, and Jin with soul is super obnoxious.
BLG will be given no purchase, no space, no opportunity to steal the objective away. Masu throws the ultimate out just to clear out the way. Get a bit of chip damage on the elf. Nice sidestep from him, but the soul is secured. FlyQuest is looking to bring us to Silver Scrapes and Game 5.
Yeah, with the Hex Soul, you can constantly throw out Jin long range abilities just to set up for the wave.
Okay, but are they going to be able to get the Atakan? They are not. It's early Trundle pick, just absolutely running the game somehow into no like tanks. Bwippo's there now, so he can just ult someone away. Oh, no, he can't. He doesn't have ult. Nice pillar. Okay. Is it going to be a game 5 then?
So nice one there to lock it down for FlyQuest, for Inspired, and now they can just reset back to Baron side of the map. Bwippo does not have his teleport though, so he pushes the wave and starts to walk over.
My goodness, Inspired.
You want to back up?
Oh, the interrupt. He's too good.
An uncontested Baron. BLG are running out of options here in Game 4. The ulti comes through.
It's quite far. That's quite far. We were just taking Baron, guys. Throw the bag at Inspired. I mean, G2 could do it, right? They're the highest spending roster still. Inspired caps would be quite something.
But I don't think FlyQuest have any reason to expose themselves to an overload play. So
quite frankly, I think you don't overcomplicate it. You get Bwippo, you get Inspired, and you go.
Would they be as good as Inspired Cat? Yike? I mean, Caps Yike? I don't know. I think Inspired is... I mean, a bunch of teams have money in the LEC. They just spent it in silly ways. Like Vitality, not now, but before they got like the Mac and Pad roster, like they were just mega dumping money in things. But not Inspired. Apparently Inspired was about to join them and then he got screwed over. Right, so... I don't know about that, by the way. Find more info on that, but I think it's true. But now, because of stupid decisions that we've made, we're going to have to pay way more to get these players back, even if they do come back, you know? And why would he? If he likes being in LA and FlyQuest have shown that they are a very good roster and run well, and Papa Smithy is actually good at this, which no one else is. No one in the EU is. Why would you leave? Okay, game 5. Let's go. First pick Galio. Azir still gone. Yone's still gone. Now he's banning stuff like Skarna and Nami, so it's not like first pick Lucian, but now Lucian is gone. Lucian is taken, but you can't pick Nami, so it's probably going to be Braum. Flying with you. Okay, good. I mean, that's wild, by the way. Like, just if you look at the track record of like all the like mismanagement of LEC teams, you would be like so shocked. I didn't realize Rumble was not being picked here. Okay. Yeah, got to game 5. And game 4 and game 3 they very almost won as well. Obviously they shouldn't have, but they almost did. I think potentially Fly were thinking they're going to get Rumble on 3. Oh, is Bippo like a Rumble player? But to get Rumble and Galio in game 5 of Fearless is a bit wild. Okay, doesn't play Rumble. That'd be why the first pick Galio then as well, because you're not worried about the enemy denying the other thing. Braum is still up. What are the bot lane combos? Now we might be talking about enchanters, you know? Do you slam a Zeri Lulu here, or do you just get murdered by Lucian, probably? Yeah, there you go, Braum. Thank God.
Indra is still available too. What else? The more common ones.
What is BLG going to go bot lane? I guess like Sivir. Sivir's kind of the one that stands out.
There's a Aphelios, Jinx, Sivir, Zeri.
Jinx, yes. You go for a lot of long range. Jinx in these late game 5s has a lot of value just because of the...
Jinx with that wombo combo is going to be really, really strong. Again, it's that first phase kind of fights, except it's not quite so like shotgun. It's more like...
There was a sign. We just had
Nodding.
That man's prayers have been answered. It's Whippo Urgot into Bin Rumble in game 5.
Whippo has so much confidence in his Urgot, talking all the Urgot one tricks for a long time, investing so much time in on this champion, liking to scale with it.
And this is the thing, there's always the possibility of that Galio being flexed. Right now the Shen is being hovered. Could be sent towards the top side of the map. See what the final lock-in is here.
Yeah, because Galio bot works into Leona for sure.
Oh, and Syra around. How could I forget about Syra? A lot of independence. A very strong laner as well. And honestly, I think that FlyQuest's composition is quite short range. I think both an Ashe and a Zai would work really nicely.
There's just so much global pressure, and the extra engage from an Ashe arrow now.
Is it going to be Zeri or Ashe?
We'll see if they lock it in. They've already got semi-globals from Doctor.
Okay, he's going to be the Ashe.
From Shen and Ashe. Only the Rumble doesn't have a semi-global or full global contributor
Damn long range
for this comp.
Damn long range on that ulti. Yeah. What will be the final pick here for FlyQuest?
Yeah, especially when there's not that much like range.
There's too low mobility into this composition. Oh, game 5 Zillion.
Haha, game 5 Zillion. It's not the cocaine bear though. Like, there's no volley bear to like be like inspired is not benefiting from this Zillion speed. Like if it was like Olaf or something, like now obviously you wouldn't have, but like because everyone's like super low range for melees, if it was Olaf, I'd be more excited about the Zillion.
The final fist bump between the coaches after our game 5 draft is done.
I mean, Fearless is so cool, by the way. Any time you get to game 5 in Fearless, like it's so cool.
You told me that I would get 10 guesses to pick the mid laner of this game. None of them would have been Zillion.
Do you believe in the tier list, or do you believe in the magic? We shall see.
I feel like the crowd believes in the magic. But
Okay.
BLG, they are a resilient team. They've been pushed to game 5 many times before.
And speaking of those game 5s, throughout international competition history in LoL esports, North America and China have gone head-to-head 7 times. Of those 7
Oh, no, of course it's not. What was I saying?
and only once. You mentioned it earlier, Vegas. It was the
I was saying Galio bot. It's obviously not that. Because they had Rumble already.
The first time in 6 years, the second time ever.
I think they could have gone Galio bot, but it wasn't Galio bot. Like it could have been a mid laner.
They can stop FlyQuest here. They make a convincing argument as they move forward in the lower bracket.
They certainly would. Rush. He goes down, rush.
What? He's not in the brush.
Half his health bar's already gone. The minions are here. He has to pop a potion. He can't recall.
That
Game 5 cost him half his
he.
HP. The pop will be gone as well.
Move forward in the lower bracket.
Why is he not in the bush?
Certainly would. Rush. He goes down, rush.
What are you doing? You have to pop the quiz. He takes a ton of damage. Half his health bar's already gone. The minions are here. He has to
That is a tragedy.
Game 5 cost him half his HP. The pop will be
You
gone.
have to be.
BLG bottom lane already finding an advantage.
And now you're just going to get zoned away.
It's so tragic for Matsu. There's on dashes in immediately for the taunt. Matsu and Busio down to half HP.
Look at the XP boost.
Oh my god. It's an absolute tragedy.
Oh, that is so.
We just need Inspired to just absolutely canyon this game, because otherwise this is already a nightmare for me. And I'm not. I love the Zillion as an idea. I'm not a big fan, I have to say.
Lane duo as Elgin are in total control.
This just completely warps the lane. This is domination. How far can BLG extend to this advantage? I mean, the wave is now going to push into them slowly, and they did invest in the flash from Shen, but he's got Hex Flash.
There he goes again. Hex Flash taunt. Busio's still only level 1 on this Leona. Gonna take even more damage here. Finally, that wave is gonna be shoved forward, and you can see Elk.
And now they're going to be able to use the Ashe and the Prio to make themselves safe.
To this game on the big stage. Under pressure.
It's a tragedy.
Push on this tower. We see Nocturne coming over.
And the good news is that Inspired is in the area.
So it's just Urgot, I guess, with who's going to benefit so much from the speed.
Exactly, Inspired in danger. It looks like he does secure his blue buff. Base 1 minute, try to flash. Block, first blood.
Oh my god, he gets just first blood in mid lane.
What is happening? We need a replay. I was too focused on
Guys,
Inspired loses his flash and Knight. Galio gets a solo kill in the mid lane.
if you had this Zillion in mind, I think it has to be a different jungler.
Getting advantage after advantage here in just the first 4 minutes.
So a good trade, and 1v1 has the level advantage.
I mean, he just dives you.
Full combo, just full combo. Phase rush to get him to safety as well. Well played by Knight. If the bot lane damage wasn't enough, the mid lane just adding insult to injury.
We check in top. Ben's doing just fine against the Urgot from Whippo here. Remember, Whippo did have the counter pick, had the opportunity to choose what he wanted in this matchup.
But it's going to get even worse, Files, because when we look at this bot wave, oh, nice here.
Oh no.
They aren't fighting range of the turret, so immediately BLG try to get as much as they can. The heal from
Also, Zillion coming down and throwing some bombs, actually, I don't like, because it starts the wave pushing and gives them control into it again. This has to work. Doesn't. They get flashed, though. Okay. Good recovery. I don't know how you winning 2v2s when that happened, level 1, but good recovery.
Masu getting a kill in that bot lane 2 versus 2 was really important for FlyQuest. The fact that he was able to get the kill on gets the kill in exchange means that he gets a huge influx of gold, and after all of that pressure, he's been able to get the experience advantage. Hopefully we can have a look at that bot wave as well. I'd love to see the state that it's in. I hope that it's actually, I think this is a fine state for FlyQuest, which means that he's now going to come back to lane. He spent some gold and should be a lot more comfortable.
They see Lee again.
The jungle pressure here because Basewan does move on over. Inspire finishes clear to the bottom side. That tribe vision.
He's baking a cheesecake. What kind? Oh, well, I was about to say what kind. One of the kinds is baked, so I'm assuming it's a baked cheesecake.
Anyway, though, so they can collect there. But the CS builds here for Elk as they build up their minion wave, and then once you push that big wave in, you can rotate over to the dragon. FlyQuest are forced to collect their wave at their tower, so should be a BLG objective.
Yep, BLG with total control of the bot side. We're level 6 now for both our mid laners, so big playmaking for Knight, big counter playmaking from Quad. It's been a while since we've seen Zillion, so for anybody who forgot, remember, you're only going to get the heal from the ultimate if you actually die. So the big challenge here for BLG will be get someone low enough that they force Quad's hand, but not actually kill them to prevent the heal in these chaotic fights that we've seen the whole series long.
Keep your eyes on Inspired.
No, I mean like on the two types of cheesecake, right? Two types of, or is this just in Europe? So we have baked cheesecake as a thing.
To Beishwan's jungle, stealing away camps, just tracking what Beishwan is up to and looking to punish him where he can. He realized that Beishwan still had camps to throw on his bot side, so he's going to steal away the wolves. Nicely done there by Inspired, gets the level 6 first, and we'll get away to safety.
Exactly, huge that he gets the big wolf there because it guarantees he has level 6, but just the tiny wolf was enough to get Basewan his ultimate as well. We could end up getting a pretty big fight here in the top side.
And then we have like non-baked cheesecake. Yeah, that's it. That's what I mean. I don't know anything about baking. Ooh, Silas was open. Yeah, Silas with Ash ult, Shen ult, Rumble ult, Galio ult. Does he play Silas quad? Like I say, I don't mind the Zillion but in comps where it like makes sense to me. Like I love the Zillion Volibear. Just gonna die on the invade. I think Silas was the play. If you had like Olaf, for example, and it's Olaf against 4 melee champs who can just Olaf Zillion runs this game, right? But Lee Sin doesn't need the speed boost in any way, really.
Maybe he goes the same build that Nemesis went with Low Tones, with his Zeros Cosmic Drive and Imperial Mandates, but it's going to take a bit of scaling for that champion. FlyQuest trying to weather the storm. BLG's continuing to build their gold lead here. And when the globals come right back up, they can just force again. The Ash Arrow plus Nocturne Ultimate and
Are there Western top lanes who don't play Rumble? Well, Bwipo, you said before. But like even Adam has put Rumble in his pool. It's been that long. I think especially considering some of these drafts I think are very heavily BLG favoured. I think FlyQuest have played this in series insanely well. They're just a good team.
Beautiful shot from Elk, and the follow-up is just as good. BLG have found the heart of FlyQuest, and they're tearing it out. Inspire, second death this game. Buzio might just die here again, as Quad drops a very early chrono shift, and it looks like BLG are ready to wait it out. Quad gets started up, he has to flash away. Buzio surviving 100 HP, only in time for Nocturne to show up, and Basewan to get the kill. On to block the calling. BLG are
Okay, it looks like it's going to be a... Not... It has to be a big turn. On teleporting around like an absolute psycho as always. Oh, it's a tragedy. I'm not sure how this game was going to be like winnable, but this is not it. Oh yeah, BB never plays Rumble. Do you think Bin is getting exposed in Fearless Draft? No, I don't think so. I mean, I think he's good at Rumble now. You don't strike me as someone who can cook very well. Why? Why don't I strike you as someone who can cook very well? I'm quite into cooking.
And BLG's organization history at MSI is finals, both
especially in the last couple of years.
On the road again. They do mount a little bit of defense. You see the Zillion coming over to rotate as well, but there's no real threat there. There's no real damage for FlyQuest, so it's not much.
Just the vibe. It's because I'm too cool and I'm so like smooth, and mostly chefs are more nerdy.
Yeah, his Galio has always
That's
been
why.
so incredibly good, and they're just showing it here. BLG,
No, I love cooking.
it is going to have to be a mistake for them to point flowers. Yeah, only one kill for FlyQuest. That one that they got back in the bottom lane.
The Zillion has been invisible early on. We know the champion struggles early, but it's had no impact. Now again, BLG making another play. Baseline Knight, the arrow, ready to join up and guarantee they've got a little extra firepower, but they still don't have the kill secured. Baseline the Dustbringer at the very end. Whippo alive with just a little bit of HP. The counter minions. Oh, they get him low. He's down to 20 HP. But he lives. Inspire's not gonna, and that's another kill for Knight.
It's a tragedy, guys.
BLG slamming game 5.
FlyQuest are just being suffocated. Respond to any of the proactivity coming through from BLG. Anytime they try to make a play, the globals just come through. These picks are wonderfully for BLG as they completely shut FlyQuest down.
Yeah, my kitchen is the draft.
It's mostly fire into a minion wave. The Zillion has not done anything early. The Lucian Leona that was supposed to be powerful ends up losing because of a slight misclick early on that cost Masu half of his health. Inspired, who has been so critical for all of FlyQuest's success so far today, is off to a 0-4 start as BLG has focused him down, and Whippo's counterpick has paid no dividends.
Credit to BLG.
I don't know what burger scrolls are.
Full distance
Let me
here
look.
to clutch it back in the previous game, and here in game number 5, they're the ones with plenty left in the tank.
Yeah, it looks like they are lost.
Cody, you already said they've been to back-to-back MSI finals in a row, and they don't want to be stopping anytime soon. Inspired, trying to get away from Knight's heroic interest as Busio throws the defensive solar flare. BLG still going forward.
Okay, let's look at this one. Is this a chance?
In the tank.
BLG, man, the cap. They've been to back-to-back MSI finals in a row, and they don't want to be stopping anytime
It's just,
soon. Inspired, trying to get away from
It
Knight's
already
heroic
looks hopeless.
interest as Busio throws the defensive solar flare. BLG still
Okay,
going forward.
can they get that one pick?
Inspired,
What happened to
trying
the
get away.
Whippo?
Whippo's in the middle of everybody,
Oh,
but
no.
BLG's too far ahead. FlyQuest lose 4.
I just think you have this comp that's like hard to execute well on in game 5 and doesn't have like an obvious. BLG have such a like, okay, here's what we do. We press R on people, and that I think is very good for game 5s. And you could do the same thing with the Zillion, where we just snowball inspired, but inspired on Lee Sin is not the same as, I mean, like given the movement speed and stuff, right? Because it doesn't matter. Are there any Nord LR scrim scheduled? There was, but I think we had to cancel it, unfortunately. There was next week, but we had to cancel because Jankos has EWC, so he can't scrim. He's co-streaming that. Yeah, I think you need the person who's gonna get beefed up by the Zillion. So whether that's like Volibear or Olaf or stuff like that, you need someone who's like, okay, I would run the game if I just had way more movement speed. Whereas Lee Sin, I think the thinking is Urgot is like that. So if you speed up the Urgot and he runs into the enemy team, but I think it's much better to have it as the jungler. I mean, they're 8k down at 18 minutes. So the comp obviously doesn't really matter here. The draft matters because some of the lanes were hard and they thought they could get away with them, but the comp doesn't really matter because you're just too far behind. But the fact that bot lane was a disaster is probably a tragedy.
So, remember the quote that I taught you when it looked like FlyQuest were down 9,000 gold earlier in the series?
Yes.
If you don't have faith, why are you even here? This game, that gold lead though, is like almost a full 10 minutes, almost 15 minutes even earlier into the game. And so that's why it just feels so much more suffocating, as well as the extra restrictions put on to the composition with Fearless mode coming in. You just look at the possible opportunities for FlyQuest.
Yeah.
And they don't have a lot
Well, hopefully he's never going to stand outside that bush again.
not a tremendous amount of wave clear.
Yeah, the curses work if the match happened like 12 hours ago. The scrims this evening. There's scrims Monday, Wednesday, Friday this week. But just evening scrims because Jankos is streaming MSI from like 2 a.m. to 7 a.m. Viego would also be okay with the Zillion. Again, Viego doesn't need the speed as much because he has his E, he has his ult to have like the mobility, and so he needs more damage. So he works better with something like Syndra, for example, because Syndra can get someone to 90% H, like almost kill someone, and then the resets come in. The thing about Olaf, for example, is movement speed is a massive limiting factor to Olaf, and he's good against short range compositions, and he's good against kind of low damage compositions because he has so much inbuilt lifesteal and stuff. Plus, you give the Zillion on that, and he can get rebirthed. But I'm only saying that because I've seen that whole comp. You can't take Olaf 1-2 and do that.
Cleanly executed once more by BLG. The Nocturne combined with the Shen means the dive comp is just so
Both NFC finals, your drift is fantastic. Thanks.
BLG extend the advantage to 10.
I thought I was going to get a new suit as part of my other job, but it arrived and the pants aren't the right size, so I might not be able to wear it. I was thinking if we do come in as the lower seed and we have to play on both days, I'd have a different suit each day. That's the dream. And I'm not talking about this game because this is toast. Still though, by far the best Western team, I think, including this series.
Doing what he can to get something back, finding a pick, getting that shutdown gold is the very least some injection of resources. But BLG just respond by getting 3 kills of their own. They're going to put themselves on soul points. And you have to feel that when that Baron spawns, they will not waste any.
They were still substantially worse, I think, in this series, but
FlyQuest praying now for multiple comeback angles. Hoping for some sort of rush play maybe, getting there early with the vision. Okay, on walks the
on.
They are gonna find him here, shut down to inspire.
On with no aftershock as always, because he can be TPing randomly.
On his first death of the game, bringing them to 3 kills. Of course, it's a very small drop in the ocean.
20-3, 3 dragons, 10k gold lead, better comp. Oof.
Maybe even their minds right now. How close that was.
Oof. Probably better scaling, even though enemy team has Zillion. Yeah, On has TP and Stand United, so he can just run back in over and over again. And he's just dead again. No, LR are tier 2, and this is MSI, but LR did so. Yeah, I think this 5th pick Zillion is not it. I think if you already had stuff that works really well with Zillion, especially in the jungle, that would be the play, I think. But I think Silas is a much better choice here. I think Cassio was banned, I think, because otherwise that would be insane. Swain, honestly, is insanely good here against low damage, short range comp. Zillion is not it. And now just like the res goes on to support, and then you've seen if you watch LR play Zillion, like you've seen when it looks good. It's when you're running at them and you put the res on like your mega carry jungler who's just running over everybody, you know? If the res is ever being used on the Zillion or on the support who's just been caught out, it already feels horrible. Obviously, if you die 1v1 under your own tower at like 3 minutes into the game, it feels not great too.
Over 12,000 gold lead, and they can turn to look for picks as well. They're brush camping in the jungle.
BLG just have to stop FlyQuest from getting anywhere near this objective. Lucio. He has to try. What other option does FlyQuest really have?
Well, there's no solar player available. Inspire
No.
now respawn, and Janet Crystal Arrow hit another target, and Quad's gonna die before he can even cast a spell. TP coming in from FlyQuest, but it just doesn't.
Yeah, even if the support is center, honestly, I think it's like if you're not using it as go forward aggressive. So I guess the idea here is that Urgot gets fed because it's a counter matchup. Then we speed him up. He runs into everybody and he just murders the game. But I think.
They don't want to push their advantage that much further. Instead, they're going to take their time as we look back at the decimation of FlyQuest.
But genuinely, top volley like is so good with Zillion.
He's gonna go for a tuber. Nice little execution there at the end, but BLG, they have this so heavily under control that they have actually set a new.
Yeah, imagine if you're in EU and you stayed up till 7 a.m. to watch, and then you just see this. I would have gone to bed 10 minutes ago.
So they need one more to pass it. Exactly. There's your priceless moment of the game. The Dragon Soul is claimed. Now they've got Baron for another 75 seconds. Plus, they've got the Dragon Soul. Plus, they've got 15,000 gold lead. Plus, they have twice the flowers their opponents do. Plus, they have all 3 Void Grubs.
Yeah, it's a rough one. And it's a disappointing way to end the series. It's been a very competitive back and forth of BLG. A small mistake exploded into an unbelievable goal lead. 50,000 is the difference. Knight pushes in the mid wave. BLG need another wave on this bot side. Still a ways away. FlyQuest doing what they can. They get good damage down onto On.
And Knight just stays near that cannon minion, keep it enchanted with Baron, allow it to have the extra range, put the pot shots in on that mid lane in here. Now the arrow fires out, the Whip doing a good job buffering through it, trying to use the disdain to get away, but the Fierce Reach turret is already about to die. FlyQuest have no
Tragedy.
line to defend. BLG will claim the first inhibitor and move on to the second. All right, second one picked up effortlessly. FlyQuest, they need that miracle with the Dragon Soul on top of it. I don't see any member of BLG going down unless they dive the fountain at this point. Well, they'll move their attention up to the top side. Tier 2 turret the target. This is the only lane with any turrets left standing at all in it. As the other 2 inhibitors are down, Knight's gonna be the target, but BLG are ready to back him up, standing united with Paranoia to reinforce the mid laner. The CC of the Whippo. Lucio stuck at the front line. He tries to get away and survives for now. FlyQuest trying to find any angle they might have, but they can't get anything. Knight even dodging the ultimate from Urgot there as they try and engage on him. So many things to cover in. Oh, look at Inspire's health just melt. Elk with 3 fully completed items just tears through these health bars.
Don't have the Baron anymore, but that doesn't to retreat. It looks like with the HP bar.
Tragedy.
The back. Bejuan trying to get a bit of health back from the jungle camps.
Okay, Bejuan's at half HP. Teleport coming in from On to join up with the rest of the team. Equalizer drop as the final tier 3
Inspired for Guardian Angel, but he's nowhere near the defense point as Whip was about to die. L flashes in, and BLG scrambled to protect him. Phase 1 versus Inspired off to the side, but the rest of BLG is on the march. They were pushed to the edge, but BLG...
Okay, and that's it. Super one-sided, unfortunate. You don't have very much time to kind of plan, and this is why it's so useful what Tabo was saying. Like, if your coach is the one just doing the draft, he can actually plan the whole game. But as a team, you don't have that much time. You also don't know what they're going to pick as well. Leaving Rumble up and stuff, and Galio up that had been banned a lot, means that you should know it's coming. But I think this. Let's jump back and look at it quickly, and then I'll go. So. I mean, this is just... I don't mind the Syndra. Like I said, like Swain or Silas or... you want Cassio, but Cassio's banned. Azir, obviously. All these picks would be great. But this... I'm not entirely sure why that's banned. To be quite honest. Because if they go Lucian, can't you take Nami something? With no Nautilus? And if they go Nami, can't you take Lucian something? But then at this point already, okay, now you've seen triple melee. So, yeah, I don't mind the Leona, actually, I guess. And as long as you ban Braum, it's okay. But I just think, to be honest, this is the biggest thing for me. I would have preferred the whole thing to be a bit different, but this is the biggest one for me. I think if you swap this for like Silas or Swain or something like that, I already much prefer the draft. But I don't see Urgot running into this whole team and murdering them all, really. Maybe he does, but it feels like he won't. But anyway, that's going to be it for me. Taking a bit of a break. Oh, wait, I should have done it like that. Taking a bit of break, and then we'll have scrims a little bit later. So let me just check. I think scrims are not until 6:45 is going to be our scrims. So we'll be coming back together for then, and I'll be streaming again. And then tomorrow I'll do another MSI watch party because he's been really fun. Tomorrow's watch party will be at 2:00 in the afternoon. So it's going to be, well, starting about now because we don't have scrims in that evening. So thanks everyone for watching, and I will see you